What is up? What is up? Greetings, good evening, and happy Wednesday to everyone in chat, VOD viewers, YouTube, I guess, anywhere else. Hell's Angel, Couch Potato, greetings. Yeah, so, in the past couple of days, I was looking forward to receiving my Mega Drive Mini, which finally did show up on Monday. And I really wanted to do kind of an impromptu little just unboxing, first impressions kind of thing. And of course, as it turned out, Twitch was having, well, I don't know if it was on Twitch's end or my end or what, but Twitch was just not working for me at all. I couldn't watch streams. It turned out I couldn't stream, first of all, of course. I dropped like 50% frames, and it was just awful. And it seemed during like super quick testing that I was doing that I could watch streams fine. But after I gave up on trying to get the stream to work, I did actually notice that I couldn't really even watch streams, so Twitch was just totally broken. So what happened, and the reason I'm doing something else tonight, is basically I kind of, I wouldn't say that I lost interest. Obviously, I still really want to do some MD Mini stuff. But that first, like, kind of rush of really wanting to, like, do the unboxing, doing the first thing, like, I got really, what's the word? Demotivated? I don't know. Discouraged. I just didn't really, I kind of lost interest in that idea. And I also thought about it, and I realized that I wanted to make sure that I have time to finish Arkham City before too long. Next week, I will probably not be able to stream much, so I wanted to make sure that I had time to finish the game this week. So I thought, let's focus on Batman for now, and we'll get to this bad boy soon enough. As I mentioned in chat to the 1.5 person who was here on Monday, or maybe I even mentioned it on Twitter, I forget. I wanted, like, the thing that I would have done on Monday if we had been able to would have been kind of a really quick, just surface level thing. But at some point, I definitely want to go through this entire library of games. When I say go through, I don't mean playing all of them start to finish. That would be kind of overwhelming. But just kind of do my own sort of coverage, I guess, of just the, checking out all the games. Not in a super formal setting or anything, but just kind of do something proper with it. So basically, I guess we're skipping maybe that first impression thing. I did try it out just like for 5 minutes the other night, just to, I wasn't going to hold off on actually unboxing it just because the stream didn't work. So I did unbox it, but I didn't really have much interest to spend a lot of time with it. But I did, weirdly enough, I just jumped into Street Fighter 2 and wanted to play like a credit, and I actually made it to like Sagat on a single credit, which is kind of weird. I don't usually do that well, so that was fun. And it also kind of disproves, well, I shouldn't say disproved, but I'd heard some rumblings that people had been unhappy with the input lag on this thing, but given that I was able to do that well in Street Fighter 2 on my first attempt, means that as far as I'm concerned anyway, input lag is not an issue. Any reason why you went with the Japanese one? Many reasons. I mean, the American or European one is not interesting to me, period. I'm much more interested in the Japanese games, and I don't mean just the lineup of games on this mini system. No, I really only collect old Japanese versions. The Japanese version of the Mini is the only one that comes with the 6-button controllers. Well, I guess it's not much to show. Well, they look like these. Whoa. And here's a USB port, but otherwise, yeah, it's pretty much identical in look and feel, really, to the originals. Let's not have that fall down. Here's the original Mega Drive controller, and here's the Mini. It's a little shinier, it's a little better condition. So yeah, the Western ones come with the 3-button controllers, which I don't like at all. Although I consider this one pretty much the best controller of all time, so that's a simple enough decision. So like the American one has a much less interesting games lineup, and it comes with 3-button controllers, and like, yeah, like I said, it just doesn't, the particular nostalgia notes or whatever that the American one hits to me like isn't really of interest. Here's the thing, by the way. Nah, I'm not really interested in the mega tower thing. Like, it's just, it's cute, and it's. I mean, I love the fact that it exists, that they've done it, but again, it doesn't really appeal to me per se. It'd be fun, but part of the reason why I wanted to get the Mini, even though obviously I have the original console, I have the analog Mega SG, I have no shortage of ways to play these games. I did a count, and I think of the 42 games on here, I think I own the original cartridge of 17 or 18 of these games. And some of the ones I don't own, I'm like super excited to finally have access to in a, you know, convenient manner or whatever. But yeah, convenience, as I say, generally, or like access to the games, isn't really the driving force in any of my purchases. For this one in particular, the thing I want to like, it's a neat little cute collectible thing. But the portability, being able to just bring this in a bag and have controllers, and just be able to bring this to work or to a friend's place and just, you know, introduce them to cool Japanese games, like that's kind of a big part of the appeal for me with this one. And the Mega CD 32X tower thing, like, doesn't really add to that experience. So like I said, it's awesome that it exists. I love that they've done that, but it's not something that really interests me. Anyway, so that's my mini, my Mega Drive Mini introduction mini. Oh, what's up, Sir Familiar? So yeah, stay tuned for more on that. But I wanted to get Arkham City out of the way so we have that over and done with. I certainly don't expect to beat the game tonight, but let's get a few hours in tonight, and we'll see if maybe we'll be able to beat this game on Friday. It'd be cool if I can beat this on Friday, because then maybe on Saturday we could do a Mega Drive stream or something. Let's see. Because next week, and shit, like, I can't believe it's so soon. It seemed like it was far off very recently. Next week, I'm going on a work trip. Although it's not really maybe your average work trip, because it's going to be fun. But we're going to London, and we're like celebrating the 20th anniversary of the company that I work for, the founding of the company. So they're flying us out to London, where we're going to have, I don't know, a bunch of stuff we're doing. One of the stops on the trip is that we're going to EGX in London on the Saturday, I think. I'm not sure. Which I'm quite excited for. Specifically because Streets of Rage 4 will be there. And I'm really excited. It's not that I'm super excited about the game, but now that the opportunity has presented itself, I'm actually quite excited to get my hands on that game, just to get some kind of impression of it. There's going to be other stuff there too. I just happened to see this morning that's like, I don't know, Grand Blue Versus and Doom Eternal or whatever else. I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of games there to see. But like the indie game stuff, I think is the most exciting. There's also going to be like tournaments, big tournaments for like SF5 and MK11 and stuff like that. So I have no idea exactly what the thing's going to be at, but what it's all going to be like. But hopefully, I'll be able to maybe even record some video or something, get some impressions in of Streets of Rage and maybe some other fun stuff. Who knows? But we'll be away Thursday to Sunday, which means that Wednesday night I'll probably not be able to stream because I'll be packing and shit. So the only opportunity I'll have to stream next week will be Monday and Tuesday. And I'm usually not really much for streaming on Mondays, which means it's very possible that I will not be streaming for the entire week. And I would not like to... I would prefer to have Arkham City completed before that potential kind of gap in the streaming activities. So, well, I was going to say you have that to look forward to. I guess I have that to look forward to. But that's neither here nor there. Anyway, been stalling for a good while here, so why don't we see if we can boot up the game here and get some Arkham City action going. Let's pause these hot fallen jams and boot up the game. And as always, playing on PC, Always, always exciting to see what tech issues we may or may not have here. So whenever this boots up, it'll take a second for the capture to follow suit, I'm sure. Come on, OBS, you can do it. Well, actually, is it even gonna capture? Well, let's see here. PC game capture. No. Okay. I guess this looks good. And as always, audio is a blow up. I guess I haven't really changed the audio levels since last stream. So hopefully it's alright. But, I mean, you guys tell me. You're gonna have to help me out and see if audio seems really whack. It looks extremely low right now. But it's also, like, not a lot is happening audio-wise. So I guess we'll have to get into it first. And that'll tell us. Riddler's Revenge challenge maps. I guess we kind of we didn't really look at a lot of this before we left last time. So let's just take a quick look and see what this is all about, I guess. Right, so here, right. I remember that there was something like some degree of like alternate characters available in this game, and I guess this is the mode. Well, Catwoman you get to play as in the real game, but here's where we see some of this stuff. There's like a filter, or whatever, like on top of the screen, but it kind of looks like Robin's arms, which is really dirty. Man, the animated series skins in this game look super whack. Sorry, let me turn up the audio a little bit. See if that's any better. Like, this just looks... I mean, it looks reasonably well done. I mean, he looks better than he did in, like, the Xbox animated series games. But in the context of this game, it looks ridiculous. Alright, here's the DKR Batman. I'm not sure... okay, year one. But I was going to say, I'm trying to place who, like, what version this is, but I just realized that it says right there on the screen. Year one version. Earth 1, so I guess this is... I don't know if it's part of the new 52 stuff, but it's definitely like more modern. It's like no trunks Batman, which always looks super weird to me. I mean, I kind of prefer... I mean, I feel like some of these costumes, like, I still like them better than the default, just because of some of the details and stuff that I don't like about this costume. Beyond, yeah, just... not a big fan. Yeah, this is the one I actually like. So, this is the Neil Adams 70s. Nope, there's no Adam West costume in this game. There's one in Arkham Knight, though. A lot of people call this one the Adam West costume, but it's not at all the Adam West costume. It's like... it's gray and a different shade of blue, and also completely different... like, no, I mean, it looks nothing like the Adam West version. Like I said, it's gray and blue, but that's kind of where the similarities end. This is based on the... yeah, well, it's there, the 70s. It's based on the 70s comics, which were kind of the start, I guess, in a way, of this, like, slightly more... not dark and gritty in, like, the Frank Miller sense, necessarily, but more kind of the noir detective... stuff. And Neil Adams, I know, is one of the more famous artists of that era, who drew this Batman, and that's kind of the costume and the style he was drawn in. No, the Adam West series is from the mid-60s. Batman Inc. Yeah, this is also one of the more modern storylines. I recognize the name. I haven't read any of it. Like, I think this looks kind of cool. And I was going to say, too, like, the proportions and the character model, the way he looks... the way he hit, like, this kind of... I mean, the fact that his gloves are more sleek is a big advantage, I think, over the original design. Like, all of them have the kind of... well, not the Frank Miller one. He's just bulky all around. But yeah, like these huge gauntlets just always bothered me. The design doesn't look right. But otherwise, the more kind of exaggerated heroic proportions of this character, I think, fit much better with this like aesthetic. And like kind of same with this one. This looks kind of cool. Like if the standard costume looked more like this, I'd like it a lot better. Oh yeah, it's Nestor Core. Get the weird, creepy animated series Catwoman. She looks weird for sure. And it's also weird that they've kind of wanted to add some detail. So there's this kind of triangle pattern all over the, like texture all over the bodysuit. I don't know. Long Halloween. I actually like this one. I think she looks cool. But it's definitely kind of a quirkier, a little more unusual design of her like mask. Red Rum, yeah. So these guys obviously don't have that much variety in costumes. I mean, this is a big step up from the first game where there was none. I mean, technically there were 2 suits in the first game because there was like an armored suit that was like an upgrade in the game. But they definitely stepped this up more and more with each game. Anyway, we're not going to actually play the challenges. I just want to take that opportunity to look at some of the models, I guess. So the trophies too, yeah, you can see all at the bottom here. These are all like the... yeah, there's at the very end there's some that are from the Harley Quinn DLC. Let's not look at these before we actually play that, I guess. We did unlock a few ones. Well, okay. 1. No, okay, 2. We got Bane as well, I guess. No, the game after this technically will be Harley Quinn's Revenge, which is the like expansion. No, okay, that's not Bane. It's the Penguin Thugs. Okay, that makes sense. The like expansion, whatever you call it. I guess you don't call it expansion packs these days. Let me turn on this light. But after that, I think it's Lego Batman 2 before Origins. I'm not sure. You can always consult the list. Well, I can't really switch to chat, but if you type !Batman, you'll get a link to the spreadsheet. But I think it's Harley Quinn's Revenge and then Lego Batman 2. I believe that to be the case anyway. So I just remembered right now, speaking of the alternate costumes and stuff, that I think there might be like a code or something to be able to swap costumes before having beaten the game. And I wanted to look that up until like before this stream, but I just realized now that I completely forgot to do that. So maybe if I take a break later on, I'll do a quick Google, but I don't want to stop to do that now. So let's just jump into the game. And let's... okay, I'm trying to restart the timer here. It's not gonna... Doesn't want to do that. Let me... What's going on here? Why does my... What the heck? Okay, live split like crashed or something. Okay, let's restart that and see if we can get the timer going. Okay, that looks better. Hey, Arioko, what's up? Yeah, no worries, no worries. I mean, people have real lives outside of watching my stream, so sudden appearances, disappearances, nothing I take personally. In fact, my last attempt at streaming, I had some internet issues, so it didn't really work out. So I guess we're even. Anywho, if I remember correctly, we ended last stream right. We just found what's his face? I almost called him Iceman, Mr. Freeze. Because Penguin is holed up over here, and he's got some kind of ice machine gun, and we can't really do much with that. So, or wait, hang on. What's this thing then? And we we learned some kind of secret to disarm. Wait, collect the security override. Oh, okay, no, right. We got like a SD card from Mr. Freeze that we're gonna stick in his suit or something to get a code to disable the gun or whatever. So I guess we're going. How do I run? That button, right? So I guess we're going right across this hall first, and then we're gonna go to the left.
Is beginning to thaw.
Here we go. See, I did have this memory of the ice disappearing. It's funny how replaying this game after all these years, there's a lot of these vague recollections that they're a little out of order and they're a little off the mark, but like in rough terms, there's a lot of stuff that I like just noticed that I kind of remember. How do I like the Mega Drive Mini? I honestly didn't really spend much time with it at all yet. Funnily enough, when I first unboxed it, I actually had some trouble getting it to work. I mean, it worked, but for some reason, I was getting the wrong video resolution. I was not getting audio. Like, so the video was coming out at 480p, and I was not getting video or audio. And I was really confused. Like, this is weird. Surely this should not be 480p. And surely it should have audio. And I tried to Google, and I couldn't find any information. But I did found some Reddit thread or something about the Super Nintendo Mini and someone having a similar thing. And the solution turned out to be that, like, the HDMI cable just was not plugged in. It seemed very, like, not fully plugged in. It seemed really strange to me that that would cause the system to, like, output a different resolution. Well, I guess it's more about how the signal was interpreted or something. But that was weird. Okay, I guess I already did that. In any case, I fiddled with the cable a bit and plugged it in nice and proper. And there we go. We got 720 video and proper audio. So I just, I mentioned just a few minutes ago, basically I played a credit of Street Fighter 2, which went shockingly better than I expected. And that was kind of it. I seem happy with it. You know, I feel happy with it. It seems good enough. I'd heard previously that there are some issues with input lag on that thing. But like I said, I was able to play Street Fighter just fine, so I mean, I'm sure that if you were to compare this with playing an original system on a CRT, oh, right, Catwoman trophy. It's not going to be, I mean, I'm sure there's a frame or two of delay at least. I'm sure, you know, compared to my setup where I'm playing a system that goes through an upscaler or even with the OSSC going through a capture card and I'm playing on the capture pass-through. I mean, comparing to that, surely the Mega Drive Mini is not going to be worse, really. Or at least, I mean, it didn't seem worse than that. It seemed totally fine.
That's the famous freeze suit.
Unfortunately.
So I look forward to spending more time with it, and I'm going to hopefully maybe this weekend
10 minutes.
or
Then
at least
this over to Freeze. He won't be dangerous.
No problem.
or at least soon enough do some streaming stuff, recording, just kind of going through the selection of games on that thing. There's some vids on YouTube about audio lag. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I didn't necessarily buy it with the expectations or, you know, feeling that it has to be perfect or whatever. My first impression is that it seemed good enough for me anyway. Disruptor freeze override. Used to remotely disable custom designed freeze gun weaponry. Must be adding close proximity to target. Alright, so they're definitely giving this an introduction as if it's like a standard gadget that we're going to use. I guess it's a thing here. But I wonder if it's... I don't know. I guess we'll see. I guess we'll find out if that's a standard thing. Because I would imagine that we're not going to get the gadget in our menu if we're literally using it once right now. But we'll find out. It's not at games. Yeah, I mean, it definitely Whoa, nice physics there. Where's the... Right. Whenever there's a riddle thing about an unusual perspective, it's always these, like... Stand somewhere specific and you'll line up a question mark thing. I'm not going to be too concerned with the riddles or the collectibles or anything like that, though, because... I think, you know, my main kind of impression of this game on last stream was like, you know... I'm actually liking this game more than I kind of expected to. And I think probably that's not unrelated to, you know, not obsessing over all the optional stuff, but rather kind of, oh, for fuck's sake, trying to focus more on, oh, where's your anti-shark bat repellent spray, whatever, when you need it. I mean, that went okay. Jesus Christ. Can you please shoot this thing? There we go. That's better. Yeah, so, like, the at-games thing would have been terrible. Like, all things considered, the MD Mini looks really cool to me. Hey, Socrates, what's up? Yeah, the Batmobile stuff is all in Arkham Knight. This game... Like, the Batmobile makes a cameo in the first game, which I think is plenty. I don't think we ever see it in this game, which makes sense, because we're, like, locked inside this walled prison, basically. But, yeah, the Batmobile stuff in Arkham Knight definitely got more than a little overbearing. But it's interesting, yeah. So, I mean, that was kind of the big revelation last time that... Whoa, some weird physicsy stuff again. That replaying Arkham Asylum, I did enjoy it greatly, but I also came to it with the memory of it being my favorite game in the series. And with that in mind, there were things about that game that... Quirks and annoyances and, like... Maybe not even that, but, you know, basically... The... some parts of that game, especially like the latter parts of the game, just not really holding up super well. I wouldn't say that I was disappointed in any way. Just like there were flaws in that game that made themselves apparent going into it with high expectations of, you know, remember liking it very much. And I think I'm having the opposite with this game, where it's not that I remember disliking this game very strongly, but the parts about it that I disliked, the parts about it that I felt was a step down from the first game, are the ones that stand out in my memory. The main thing I remember about this isn't really, oh, it's a cool game, but it's like, well, it's my least favorite maybe in the series. But replaying it, like, all the good parts are really reminding, they're making themselves reminded, and a lot of the more negative aspects so far haven't really been much of a big deal. So I'm really interested in seeing how that, whether or not that changes throughout the game.
Tell you what, Batman, I'll give you this one for free.
So yeah, this is...
Freeze's override won't work from this range.
Oh, okay, he's just like taunting me.
Help me!
Nope, okay.
Boys,
I'm out of range. I need to get closer.
what? Come on, fire, damn you! What the hell is wrong with it?
Alright, Rip Penguin. Wait, wasn't there...
You're finished.
Okay, I guess there was a bridge there. Or maybe there were water in this room. I guess I didn't know what the middle of this room looked like.
Can't guarantee that.
Me neither.
Like, yeah, I'm confused about the geography of this scene because I didn't see what the room looked like.
I tried to help you, Batman. I gave you the opportunity to end this and walk away, but oh no. You had to be the big...
Oh, it looks so disgusting. Everyone looks so disgusting.
Guess what? From up here, you look pretty small.
Oh, is this when we get the... Yeah, okay.
I've got a little surprise for you, Dad.
Oh, shit, okay. This actually was not what I was thinking, but yeah. Alright, so I did have a vague memory of Solomon Grundy But I was unsure if I got confused about him being in the game or if it was just referenced. But nope, I guess he's in the game. They're really kind of laying it on thick with the villains, and like there's a lot of characters, and they keep kind of introducing new ones at a pretty rapid pace. That's pretty cool. Yeah, sorry, I'll address the chat right after this.
Born on a Monday, christened on Tuesday, married on Wednesday.
I found him down there when I bought this place. Comes in handy.
Yeah, like, if you don't get too sidetracked with all the side stuff, and especially, like, once you're in these kind of more contained areas, once we kind of leave the main hub world and go inside one of these buildings with more of these linear sequences, the game actually ends up being very similar to the first game, and it's more the open world itself that I don't like as much. And these things are, like, at least as good as the first game, maybe better. And, yeah, we're getting introduced to all these villains and characters and sequences. It's pretty damn cool. I definitely dig it. As long as we don't spend too much time getting sidetracked with all the optional shit and kind of focus on, like, getting the, you know, all these different cool scenes and locations and bosses and shit. Like, you know, not too bad. Yeah, sorry, to just go back to chat for a second. If you change the menu to English, do you get the US ROMs like the Genesis Mini? Yeah, the Mega Drive Mini. That's one thing I don't like. I mean, I wish they could have handled it a little differently. I'm glad that you can switch, but basically, yeah, you change the menu language. Like, it's just one global language setting. So if you change it to English, you get the ugly American Genesis, like, not just the game cover arts, but like the whole menu, the UI is totally different. And it has this kind of US look that I don't care for at all. And you get the US versions of the games where applicable. Obviously, there's a bunch of games on there that are only in Japanese. But if you you'll get, I don't know, Streets of Rage 2 or Revenge of Shinobi or whatever else, the English version. Obviously, the Japanese isn't really an issue for me. My Japanese is certainly okay enough to get through those games and navigate the menus, but I wish there would have been a setting like in Mega Drive, like / Genesis setting, separate from display language, so I could like have the menus in English and still have the Japanese graphics and whatever. But that's kind of a minor nitpick, I guess. So yeah, the games that have an English version, I guess that's my understanding of it. But because I don't like the English menus, I wouldn't keep it on English anyway. And yeah, did I play Dragon Quest XI? No. JRPGs are very much not my jam. And even games that interest me along those lines, any game that seems like it would require like a, I don't know, 70 to 150 hour time commitment is also not my jam. I've heard good things, but I haven't really played. Supposed to bomb him. Whoop, I tried to dodge. Supposed to have him walk over this, or fuck me. Close enough. Okay, I guess he's electric. Or was I electrified by that thing? Alright, I'm a little confused. Let's ask him because there's a character in the game that supposedly has a Scandinavian accent, but I'm not convinced. Let me tell you, from your description, I'm also not convinced. Whoa, 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 whoa. Alright, the physics on those things are a little confusing. I don't quite get... oh, alright. Well, I guess I'm supposed to blow these things up because they're giving him his power or whatever. Fuck. Yep, that looks better. But hey, this is actually like a boss fight with some kind of puzzly, Batman-y mechanics. Pretty cool. I really had no memories of this boss fight. I just generally remember boss fights not really being a thing or not being a good thing, I guess, in these games until the third game. But this isn't so bad. I mean, certainly the first game's pretty abysmal when it comes to boss fights. And there's a few boss things in this game that I remember not being great. Oh, we'll see. This seems pretty alright so far. Well, it's an ARKHAM game, so of course he has to look increasingly disgusting. I can't quite read chat while I'm doing this, so... wait, okay, this is just like open for business again, huh? So now I gotta time the bombs when they're open, is that it? Yep, I guess so. Wait, quick fire batarang? Whoa, okay, maybe not. Oh wait, I still broke it. Did he just... Alright, he just spawned some explosive maggots or something. Alright, iframes. Oh, wait. Okay. I guess it isn't already always, like, vulnerable. It just doesn't visually correspond necessarily. Okay, I guess that was just... I mashed too much because every time I try to detonate it, I accidentally place another one. There we go. I like that it has a life bar, but it's like complete nonsense. Just kind of goes up and down. Well, I got an achievement, so I guess I won. They kind of do sound Scandinavian. That's impressive, I guess. I mean, I've heard good things about localization and the voice acting, but it's just, I don't know, like, accents are always kind of weird in English voice acting stuff. Like, first of all, I wouldn't trust, like, anytime in like, English language media depicting or trying to depict anything like Scandinavian, as far as accents or language, like, it doesn't seem to, you know, ring very true most of the time. And accents in general tend to be like really... Okay, I thought it was going away. Overdone and kind of goofy. Also, I just now realized that the maggots is probably what that quickfire batarang hint was for. So, is he gonna... Yeah, he's spawning a few more here. Whoop. Yep, there we go. Whoop, that's electric. Yep. Oh, I did not press that direction. Well, that's fine. There we go. There we go. But yeah, I mean, I would say for something like Dragon Quest, which isn't, like I said, my thing really for a number of reasons. Alright, let's punch his intestines, I guess. Yank out his heart. It's fine. That was a non-lethal
Just you and me left.
heart
The bat
impalement.
versus the bird.
Nope. Okay. I guess I'll just run up to him and uppercut him again. Wait, did he... What's he doing? Oh, okay. He's just like bracing himself for the inevitable. That seems a bit brutal. Oh well, he started it.
Where is Cobblepot?
Well, look who it is. Mr.
Enough. Freeze. Enough.
Of course.
I really like Frieza's voice.
You will regret what you did, Mr. Cobblepot.
Is he the same? I'm curious, because obviously Batman and the Joker are the same voice actors from the cartoon. I haven't watched a lot of the cartoon, certainly not in English.
There isn't one. Perhaps I should elaborate.
And I don't know if
Creating an
if
antidote
it's
to the
like
disease
even
that afflicts the clown
obviously not the same voice actor, but I want to say that the
Unfortunately,
sound of his
the cure
voice is pretty
degrades
close.
too quickly.
Like
It needs
that's
a
what he
restorative
sounds like
agent,
basically in the show,
some
right?
kind of reforming enzyme. Without it, it breaks down before it.
Either way, it's a good voice, I think.
I've seen this before.
Finding a suitable enzyme is not the only problem. It needs to be adapted, bonded to human DNA. That will take decades.
Yeah, I guess
Time
Harley
it
Quinn,
appears you do not have.
at least in the
What if I
first
told you I know a
game,
man
I
who's
remember
been
there being
exposed to
some
that enzyme for
controversy, I guess, that
centuries.
in
What?
there was a game or some game in this series that she had the same voice actor, but then or actress,
All
I
I
guess.
need is a sample of his.
And then whether it was this game or Arkham Knight,
only hope.
she had a different
Ra's al Ghul is dead.
actress, I
And you
think.
and the clown. are
So maybe
doomed.
there were more of them.
Not exactly. I need someone
But I
to
suppose
tell
it
me where
makes
the
sense
body
that
is. Then I can go wake
Batman and
him
the
up.
Joker are like the characters that people are the most make the biggest deal out of being those actors.
Screamer, you are not worthy to speak of the great Ra's al Ghul.
Like I said, yeah, like they really
You are
they
a fool, Batman. You've let your
this
own
game is like smothered in a thick
No, Victor.
layer
If
of
Ra's al
Batman
Ghul is
lore.
in Arkham City, I now have a trail right to him.
And I think is cool. I mean, even in the first game, there's a lot of reference to stuff, and they do a good job of like squeezing quite a few characters in there. But this game definitely dials that up to 11. Like it's just like every scene there's something in like this setting. Also, maybe even more so than Arkham Asylum. Just lets them put so many different characters and shit.
Are you sure this man
Oh, yeah,
can
the
provide
suit.
the missing ingredient?
Voice
I've
effect.
met Ra's al Ghul many times. He claims to be
Hey,
over
what's up?
600
I love
years
Macaw.
old.
Yeah, some annoying stream issues,
Which
but it
means
seems to be all
something
sorted out
is
now.
keeping him alive.
Let us hope you are correct, Batman. After all, your life depends on it.
I don't think that was meant to be Talia, but we will see Talia soon enough. Alright, so we got a... Whoops. Bat scan. Okay. Wait. Why is it disabling? There we go. That was weird.
Oracle, change of plan. I'm going after the League
So
of Assassins.
that's one of the aspects of
What
this,
have they got to do with all this?
the story, or should I say
wait a
the
minute.
writing, or
Is
the
this about
storytelling in this
Raish or his
game.
daughter?
Penguin had one of the League's assassins imprisoned in the museum. I recognize the insignia. She's a member of Talia's elite guard.
I knew it. What is it about that woman that makes her instantly the most important person in your world?
Talia is not the goal, Barbara. I've uploaded Freeze's unfinished cure. It looks to me like the answer is...
Found in Ra's al Ghul's blood. Okay, Bruce, I guess you need to go after him. But please stay focused. Don't let her get in the way again.
Alright, there we go. Is there something here, or was this just for trapping dudes or whatever? Oh, detonate. Aha, there's a trophy there at least. Yeah, I like this where you get these little outlines, but you don't actually get to see them until you've met them in the game. I think that's a really cool touch. Because it's definitely like kind of shitty to get sort of spoiled on. I mean, especially for something like this where I'm not necessarily a big fan of the art direction per se, or the character design specifically. But it's still a treat to, see, oh, so this character's in this game. I wonder what their version of this character is going to look like. And you're going to guarantee, basically, that the reveal is going to be quite underwhelming if you just see it in the menu. So I like that they kind of obscure it until you actually see them introduced in the real game. I think that's a cool touch. Yeah, so now we're back to the part I like less. Oh, okay, we're just getting some
I see you have sent a
Bat
data
equipment
request on
DLC
the League
here.
of Assassins to the Bat computer. Oh, and
Sassy
another
Alfred? Hell yeah.
equipment request. Did you ever consider a bigger build?
I did. Too heavy. Slowed me down. Let me know when it's here.
All right, okay, that's a justification. Sure, why not?
Can anyone hear me? Over.
Instantly, the fucking chatter. No one ever shuts up in this game, and that's like the biggest thing that drives me nuts, and that I basically had no recollection of. I mean, when I see the kind of radio broadcast, whatever, interception, like, yeah, right, that was a thing. But it didn't, like, it really didn't make a lasting impression on me, the fact that it's so incessant, it's just never ending.
So what's the plan? Lay low. See any of Joker's crew? Kill them.
You're going to die tonight, Bat.
Oops, that's the right, not the right button. All right, let's see if we can.
We'll make sure this hurts you.
Leave the the camera.
This'll be easy, Bat Freak.
Okay. I got this guy. Guy. That guy. And there we go. Interrogation. Oh, cool. I totally forgot this. There's like context sensitive.
Riddler.
Oh, crap.
I almost said Riddler animations. Interrogation animations. I guess he tied a rope to its foot. What the? Or did he just despawn him? No, he just dropped him and had him slide down. Okay, sure. I mean, I guess that's pretty harmless. Let's pick up the trail. There we go. But yeah, going back to, I was going to say about Dragon Quest that disregarding the fact that it's not a type of game that typically interests me, for a game like that, just in terms of its presentation, or I mean, it's a Japanese game, but it's not just developed in Japan, but also, I don't know, it seems so Japanese to me that it wouldn't probably occur to me to play it with English voices if I had the choice of using Japanese ones. But like I said, for Dragon Quest XI in particular, I have heard good things about its localization and its English voiceover. I mean, I think it's definitely, like, historically, there are countless examples and different manifestations of, I guess, English voices being, like, highly inferior to Japanese ones. I think it's fair to say that these days it's not what it used to be in terms of, like, sheer quality. But also in terms of preference, it's not like I would literally 100% of the time always prefer Japanese voices or say that they're always better. But to me, something like Dragon Quest is so Japanese that I think it would feel more natural to have Japanese voices for it. But, you know, people feel differently. If, you know, people who are used to watching English dubbed anime or whatever, like, that association of it being Japanese and therefore feeling more natural with Japanese voices might not be, that association might not really be there, or at least not be as strong. Come on, Batman. There we go.
Then we move on his territory. See how he likes it. I'm ready. Me too.
But it's also like the, you know, of course, the typical, you know, quote-unquote sub versus dub debate, if you want to call it that. Like, that to me is something that I very strongly associate with native English speakers, because that kind of dichotomy is so alien to me, because to me an English dub is not mutually exclusive with subtitles. Regardless of which language I'm watching something in, I prefer to have subtitles. And I, especially now that I actually know at least some Japanese, like, I'd be happy to watch something in Japanese. Could watch it without subtitles, so I don't know, like, it's the point being, whether or not I would want to have to read subtitles is not a determining factor in, you know, what language I would prefer to watch something in, because regardless of language, I will prefer to have subtitles. So the idea of like, oh, I prefer English voices because if it's in Japanese, I need to read. That wouldn't really be a factor, at least not in that way for me. So, but you know, everyone has kind of their own, come at it from their own perspective. Robot 86, what is up? We're definitely not going for a full 100%. Okay, I try to glide. There we go. Not what I meant to do, but it'll work. You do that. That's fun. Here we go. I mean, this is not my first time playing through this game. I have 100% of this game in the past. So, I'm probably not gonna... Well, in fact, I know. Is that a... Alright, okay. I'm trying to remember the controls here. I think I should... Like, he's got a stun gun or something, so I can't dodge it normally. I forget how this works. I guess it's a glass bottle. Probably counts as a knife. Oh, that was cool. The instant knockout. Ah, he stood up. There we go. Yeah, so I've... the thing is, I know that doing the full Riddler stuff is a bit of a grind, to say the least. And it's not a grind I'm, like, terribly excited to go through again. And I think, honestly, my impression kind of so far is that my experience with the game is... improved by not having to worry about the collectible stuff. I'll do it kind of in passing. I'll do it to create some variety if things get repetitive, but I'm not going to... I may go out of my way just a little bit to collect some stuff, but not too much, and I'm definitely not going to attempt to do all of it. I mean, we are also on a quest to complete all these games, which means that if I committed to doing 100% runs of any of these, we'd be looking at a pretty massive completion time. So, more importantly, like for me, the most important reason why I'm not doing it is because it's going to be more fun for me to not do it. Yeah, Dragon Quest XI, of course, the original Japanese release didn't have voice acting, but the Switch version does. New Sonic... Oh, who gives a shit? I guess, yeah, this stuff is more interesting. Dramatically increases their power. Oh, yeah. We'll try this. If I try to go for this, it might make combat more exciting. Oh, yeah, you can enable the tutorial to have it show up during gameplay. Like, that's a pretty cool feature, actually. Oh, this is new. Oh, this is the, like, triple stun. Well, it says new, but I think I have it. Maybe we got this box to show up when we had to do the triple stun on... Who were we fighting? We were fighting some big dude that we had to triple stun, I think. Who knows? So, I don't know what was up here. I kind of lost the trail somewhere here. And it started, like... I don't know if... I think it's the game's... The game... you know, kind of figured out that I was just leaving the trail, so it started giving me other information. Because this is where we came from. That's the thing we destroyed before, yeah. So that's not a thing. Deadbob, what's up? Does Dragon Quest allow Japanese voices and English text? I believe that to be the case, but you'd have to ask someone who's played it. I'd heard some mention of people talking about the game in the context of, hey, did you play it in English or in Japanese? But that doesn't... I interpreted it as having that choice, but I suppose I don't know for a fact that that's the case. Alright, we can destroy that thing at least. There we go.
We've lost a camera in Sector 1.
Where the heck is this trail going? I'm confused. Because... Whoa! That was weird. Because it came from here, right? Yeah, she came up here. And I thought at first it would follow around here, but... Nope. Can I climb down? Nope, that's not what I meant to do. Oh well. Is there a trail here? No. UI is a little overbearing. Am I the only one confused by this? 'Cause there's no, yeah, there's no like visible. 'Cause it's obviously nothing here. Do I drop down further? I mean, I fell down like 3 times by mistake. Okay, here we go. I guess I was... Okay, well, whatever. We figured it out. Okay, so there are actually little dots here. It's just that this little highlighting magnifying glass thing typically shows up. So see there on the top, right beneath the arrow RB thing. As soon as I look, as soon as I tilt the camera up a little bit, there we go. Okay, well, that's just a little confused. Oh wow, and there's like 5 of them at just once.
Now there's a loser. Never catch me working for that sawed-off run.
What's up, Jay? What's up? Yep, some bad action coming in hot. Well, we can take care of this guy, I guess. Whoop, that's the wrong button. That works. Alright, we're getting a blade dodge tutorial here. That seems ominous. There we go. That's a takedown. Not too hard when it's just the one guy. Jesus Christ, will you shut up?
I've got a camera out
There we go.
Sector
Well,
1.
we parried his donation message. Alright, so is this a thing? Seems like it would be, right? Yeah. Ventriloquist? Scarface? Oh yeah, we got these little stories. Alright, where were we? I'm not sure which end of the trail we're on here. Is this where we're coming from or to? Well, there's some dots here at least, so I guess she climbed up here. I think we're on the right track. Oh, I kind of... Okay. These, like, electrical boxes are pretty silly. Like, I can, you know, I can appreciate the sort of mechanics of it, but it's a little goofy. You gotta pull it up so it sucks it in, and then we gotta, like, shoot it with the other direction. Damn, what, can I hold it? No? This is like Metroid bomb jumping, basically. There's, like, a weird rhythm to it. Or I just do that, okay. So one button attracts it and one like pushes it away. There we go. So let's do a little attracting there. There we go. It's a little silly, but I mean, it's extremely contrived if you try to think about it from any kind of in-universe perspective.
The blood trail has run out. The only way I'm gonna find that assassin is to locate more evidence.
Oh, whatever. It's a video game. Scan for evidence.
Whoa, this is Gotham, not Tokyo.
The only way to find Raish is to get a tracker on that ninja. I'll need to get in close.
Okay, she's just waiting. Oh, nope. Okay, well. Okay. This is mostly just waiting. But this is cool.
Because of your crimes against society. Gotham is a safer place without you.
A little bit of action parkour running here. Dude, it's just so satisfying to run and jump and not glide and shit. I don't know why, but it just feels so good. Oh, she's like not totally just standing there waiting for me. Nope, not at all. I mean, I realize that it's tough to do that because, like, you know, you don't want to have her be able to run away. That's pretty cool custom animation.
You only continue to live because the great Ra's al Ghul allows it.
Oh man,
Pull him off.
I can take her.
I mean, it makes sense that he shows up,
Stand
but I
down.
just didn't remember this at all.
Do not follow us.
I didn't need your help.
Really? That's not what it looked like from where I was standing.
I had it under control. Why did Alfred send you?
He was worried about you.
Take this, get it analyzed, and start searching the hospitals and emergency rooms. Anyone with this blood in them will be dead within 24 hours.
Whose blood is it? Oh. It's yours, isn't it? I'll get it to the hospitals and come back. You need my help here.
I can handle it. You're needed in Gotham. Things could get worse, much worse.
You think? If Strange really knows who you are, what happens if he tells everyone? How will you...
Trust me, I'll find a way.
Shut up already. Man, Robin... The shape of his hood somehow looks really goofy. It's just that big-ass cone head thing going on.
Now go.
But it's cool that, you know... Oh, hey, it's the line launcher. I mean, I really love the way a lot of these characters just kind of drop in. I mean, literally in this case. But they kind of show up a little bit out of nowhere, and the game doesn't... I don't know how to put it. I mean, it's not like this game is unique in this way among other Batman games, but I feel like it's kind of neat how it's just there, and it's just, you know, you're kind of expected to just understand and know it's like, you know, it's Robin, or it's Ra's al Ghul, it's Solomon Grundy, it's whatever. And especially with stuff like this, the way Robin and Batman interact and talk with each other, like, it's clear that they have a relationship, and it feels very believable that they're inhabiting this world. I just think it's quite well done. I like it. And these little... I mean, I think it's cool that they so seamlessly tie in this little storytelling beat within the gameplay without having so clearly, like, gameplay, cutscene, just, like, cutting from one to the other, but just having this kind of a little more natural transition. And I think maybe that's the thing, too, that I... You know, I like when the game does that and does it well, but when it's more uninterrupted gameplay of this open world stuff, like, we don't get to see any of those moments, and those are the things that are kind of the coolest. It's like, I feel like the game is at its strongest when you're kind of ignoring all this open world bullshit and just really just kind of, you know, mainlining it through. So we're on the level 2 Batwing Flight, whatever, DLC here. So these are going to be a little trickier now. So first of all, well, hey, there's a riddle thing. I guess I got to go. Okay, whoa, there's the ring. I was going to say, I can't even see where the other rings are. I'm a little unsure. I can see 3 of them. It's under there. Like, yeah, I'm just not really clear on how I'm... okay, so I'm definitely doing that from the wrong direction. Oh, it's right under there. Okay, I see. Oh, that voice is so grating somehow.
Augmented reality training activated.
We're gonna fly over here. Oh, I can't turn. Alright.
Augmented reality training failed.
Alright, let me try this a few times. The lighting is actually cool, but it's not easy to do it really well.
Prisoners of Arkham City, you have given up your basic human rights because of your
I guess you can...
Augmented reality training failed.
Maybe I should see if I can practice it without, you know... I didn't need to do that, I guess. So, I guess you can turn when diving. Oop, you gotta hold this button too.
Batman! It's Batman!
Yeah, basically we need to do exactly that, but from the other way. Alright, so now I understand that I can turn while diving. There's just kind of a little sluggish momentum to the turning itself. It made it seem like you couldn't turn, or at least turned way too slowly. But that's not really the case. Yeah, see, you kind of... Whoa, it's a little unwieldy. It's actually kind of difficult to get that second one.
Augmented reality training activated.
Go on! Run! Hide!
Ah, shit. I was actually really close there. Oh, wow. I even got this right here.
Reality training activated.
I always knew you were chicken!
Fuck me. I don't think... I think I could have done it there if I just hadn't... I think I had the speed, basically.
Go on! Run!
But I'm, like, turning too much, see? Again, it's because of that kind of momentum to the turning that in order to turn enough, you have to... Once you've turned enough, it's easy to then turn too much. Whoa! Oh, see? Like, he keeps... Well, I guess you can't see what I'm doing with the controls here. But, he... You know, I let go to the left, but he keeps turning. I gotta just let go. Like, oh, fuck! It was even sooner than that. I don't mind redoing it, because I kind of want to get the hang of it. It is fun, but it's a little tricky. That voice is just really aggravating to me. God damn it. Yeah, fucking punks on the street. They can piss off. I'm dealing with important bat business here, okay? There we go. Boom, nailed it.
Not surprised. Come on! There's a fight going down!
Disarm this guy, break the bat. Ah, fuck. I thought I'd hit that one guy. Oh, fuck that up. Break this thing.
We'll make sure this hurts.
Let's kill this guy, I guess.
Arkham City is where you're gonna die.
Nice, got the takedown.
What's going on over there?
Ah, try to jump over him. Oh, fuck. I tried to do the takedown thing to break his weapon. Didn't work for whatever reason. Nope. There we go. That looks a little weird. but we got him.
I know you work for
First try. Yeah, perfect.
I mean, yes. Please, don't hurt me. I'll tell you everything.
Everyone looks so disgusting in this game. Oh, I hate it. Well, whatever. Let's elbow that guy, and, where were we? Right, we're chasing some ninja check. Man, I'm getting some, like, frame stuttering. But, frame rate's mostly okay. Whoa, let's, oh. So, the map is, like, U-shaped, or, like, horseshoe-shaped. So, it's pretty easy to, like... Yeah, see? If you're, like, over here, and it's pointing over here, like, you're kind of, yeah. What's this?
Tiger Command, this is Air Tiger 7. We are approaching the designated location. The alleyway is empty. Thermal scan.
Oh, is this the sniper thing also? No, maybe not. Titan containers. Oh, it's inside the steel mill. Yeah, the Titan container is like the Bane mission.
Augmented.
So, well, if we're going around to the east side here, let's maybe stop to trace this bullet trajectory. And if we have business this far away, we might as well maybe do the Titan container. So, I mentioned that I'm definitely not like 100%ing this game. But we're going to try to do most of these, at least the ones that have like interesting stuff. So yeah, the Titan containers is part of the Bane mission. And a lot of these have actual, well, some of them anyway, they have like interesting story or character stuff related to them. So it's actually worthwhile actually completing them. But like the Riddler trophies or whatever, it's just like that. There's nothing exciting about those. Like in terms of what cool stuff you get for doing it. So, right, that's one thing. We gotta actually do this the old-fashioned way. Having all these quick-fire gadgets for like everything is a huge quality of life improvement over the first game. But it gets a little annoying where you actually have there is like a quick-fire explosive gel, but you can only use it on the floor, not for those walls, unless I'm totally misunderstanding something. Anyway, let's... Definitely, the game seems a lot more stuttery than last time. I don't know what's the deal. Bonk. Just murder some guy. Well, not murder, but you know. Oh, you know, kind of murder a little bit. What the? He's just like swinging the bat right through me. Lariato. Nice, we got him. Wait, what were we doing? Yeah, like we're almost at the steel mill actually. Well, fuck it. It's like... Okay, well maybe we're not quite there, but... I guess it makes sense that we would be going all over the place because we put the thing on a person. I for some reason forgot that. I guess I was just assuming that after the cutscene she would just teleport to wherever they were going. I wonder if I did that question thing. Yeah, not bad murder. It's like technical murder. I don't know. So that's the sniper bullet trajectory, right? Let's God, these guys fucking never shut up. Drives me nuts. Like, it's a bit... I don't really want to stay in the Batman vision mode. It's so garish and ugly to look at. But for some stuff, they don't give you a lot of choice. Oh yeah, I'm gonna like lower something from, or raise something, I guess. It's like a Riddler trophy.
It's not good. Harley's crazy. Two-Face.
Oh, I have to like shoot it the other way.
We're the ones stuck in the middle. I know, man. This is not
It's kind of funny, but you know, it's cool. Why not? No. There we go. I mean, it's fun. I mean, I like the fact that the Riddler trophies create kind of a... It's a contrivance, but it creates an excuse to, like, from a game designer's point of view, figure out ways, like, different scenarios for the mechanics to be used, which I think is pretty cool.
Speak.
Oh, Batman, you sound impatient. That is good. That is
All right,
very
that's
good. You'll
side
need
mission.
that to solve my little game. You may have heard
Right,
that
he
I've
called...
been providing
Yeah, this is the Die
salvation
Hard 3 mission,
to
right?
mindless drones lucky enough to answer my calls.
We had an
Hardly
introduction to
salvation.
this
You've
before,
been killing them.
That's a question
but it
of
wasn't the.
perspective.
It was
For
like a
example,
little intro, I
from
guess,
where
and this
I'm
is where we
standing,
actually start
I
the
can
side
see
mission.
3 little piggies just waiting for me to cure them
Oh
of
boy,
life.
this guy's a bit full of himself, isn't he?
Perspective, I'd imagine they see things differently.
If you hurt them, Zaz, I will hunt you down.
I bet you will. But first, a little game. Right now, somewhere in Arkham City, there's a phone ringing. I know it's a big place.
Oh boy.
But you need to find it.
Let me throw up some icons all over your map.
Kill these piggies. And don't try anything clever.
Boy, we shouldn't have done this.
I had a friend.
Oh fuck, more
bounce the
icons.
signal through every relay from here to Bloodhaven. You'll never find me.
Oh no, not more.
Now hang up that phone.
Okay, wait, what?
And start running.
Okay, whatever. So we have to abort because I see. Because I chose to foolishly engage with something, the game was annoyingly kind of flashing in my face over here. I was like, oh, fine, let me answer this damn phone. Now I gotta fucking run. I mean, yeah, okay. I mean, I'm not gonna like game over or whatever, I guess, but I feel like the game is rather strongly encouraging me to prioritize this. And it's not like the city map is gigantic and it's like such a, you know, horrible inconvenience or like, you know, the worst thing ever to have to do this, but it's just it's not that it takes time so much as it's like a distraction. Well, that was very graceful. And I think that's when this game is kind of at its worst, when you get constantly sidetracked, preventing you from kind of pushing forward in the narrative, because focusing on that part, like, there is this kind of aspect in the story of you know, it seemed like a simple thing. We're just gonna do this, and then all of a sudden, you know, we get thrown for a loop, and we have to go on this real wild goose chase after, you know, there's one thing after the other, and we just need Freeze, but nope, he's taken by the Penguin, so we just gotta find Penguin, and then we gotta find Mr. Freeze again, and then we fight Solomon Grundy, and then we gotta do this, and then finally we have to find Ra's al Ghul.
Did I ever tell you about my first kill, Batman? No? As I am sure you are aware, my parents were dead and I was rich.
So when that's like paced out properly, and it's like we get these rewarding, like when it's directed, you know, from a writer, director, or whatever, like it's a cool thing. It's entertaining to get thrown from one scenario into the next. But the way mechanically the open world aspects do you know, what could be called a similar thing, it doesn't feel satisfying the same way, because we are getting.
You should have stayed that way.
It's distracting from the actual like main story.
Find another the
All right, I guess we've
Batman.
tracked as much as we can in this first call. That's why the bar doesn't. Yeah, so we got to do that like 8 times or whatever to be able to fill the bar. Yeah. Anyway.
Camera down in Sector 1.
You know, the main lasting thing that I kind of remembered from this game. So we got to stand on 4 of these things to. Okay, whatever. Without standing. Oh, we're not going to do this one. It's too difficult or too annoying. I don't know. The lasting thing that I remembered about this game was the very like incongruent feel of the narrative versus like the gameplay. And what I mean more specifically is how the story of the game, you know, the story of the game focuses on this race against time of, you know, we gotta save Batman's life so we can save the Joker's life or whatever. And it's always this, you know, we're in the context of which this whole thing where you have a lead, but it turns out that actually you gotta, you know, you gotta go in a totally different direction. And hey, I thought we were getting close to some answers here, but nope, I guess not. Like that whole thing. There's drama there, right? Like it becomes kind of fun to see that pressure mounting of like, shit, we really got to do this. But, oh no, like everything seemed like it was going well, and then all of a sudden, fucking Solomon Grundy comes out of the wall, and we have to fight him, and all that shit. But everything else in the game that isn't part of that main story is kind of insisting that we fuck around with all this other shit. And it's weird to have. Like, it's kind of ludonarrative dissonance in a way, I guess. Like, you just, anytime there's a cutscene, Batman talks about being in such a hurry, and every time there's no cutscene, it's just like, all right, let me just fly around and practice my gliding technique before doing 12 side missions and, like, whatever else. All right, so we got, we don't have the actual freeze gun yet, right? Can I? So I'm assuming we don't want to step on these things. Well, okay, we aren't taking. I was going to say that wasn't so bad, but I guess we took like a lot of damage. Oh well, that's fine. We'll be okay. We're Batman.
This is hardly a surprise. I always knew I was better than you.
Grimy, dirty Riddler. Man, everyone's so grimy. But yeah, that whole aspect of one part of the game insisting that you are in a mad hurry, and another part of the game, or every other part of the game, insisting that, hey, look at this, hey, do this, hey, check this shit out. It's... I feel like this game... Oh, okay. I was like, what the hell was that? I thought I found some hidden mission or something. Turns out I just flew too close to the wall. Did I manage to scan that? I think I did. I think it'll be interesting to see what it's like in Origins, because at this point I'm like not remembering that super well either. I have not played that game since it was new, basically. Oh, I'm not doing any more phone shit right now. But I do remember Arkham Knight for everything that I was annoyed with in that game. I did really like its... I feel like its structure, and it's like... Ooh, there's some balloons. Let's pop them. The feel of... Okay, I threw something at a camera, I guess. Sure, I'll take that. In Arkham Knight, you like... it really felt like a very long, busy night for Batman. And you had all these different crimes going on. Like, the way the sort of side mission menu was structured, it wasn't really that much different. Okay, sorry. It's not that much different from this, But there's just something about it, the way it was presented, and especially the coolest thing that I like the most in that game is, for like a lot of times you are kind of passing through GCPD, and whenever you do that, you kind of go through your special Batmobile garage entrance, and you have to walk through the like these jail cells, and the more progress you make throughout the game, the more thugs and villains and whatever show up in that prison. And that's such a cool, I guess, you know, I was talking about a lot about the kind of environmental storytelling and the evolution of the game space in the first game, how as you progress to the story, the overworld, so to speak, the hub world, isn't very large in that first game. You pass through it many, many times, but throughout the progress, the story of the main game, it kind of changes all the time, because anytime you pass through any area, new stuff has been added or something has changed. And I think that's not really present in this game, but in Arkham Knight, through that prison, the jail stuff, like it's kind of added there, and I think that's a really cool touch. I love that part just as much as I love the ever-evolving environments in the first game. Arkham Knight was near the peak of that whole trend of inundating players with tasks, and it was so awful. Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm not a fan of what I would call this kind of Ubisoft-style open-world checklist game, where
it was taken from somewhere around here.
You know, you
scan the.
You have a map, and there's fucking icons everywhere. Like, and I think games like that, whether it's Assassin's Creed or GTA or whatever it might be, that, you know, to varying degrees follow that kind of formula. To me, they tend to feel like work. And I think that's a lot of the time because the activities and stuff you do isn't... I mean, a lot of times they're not that fun in and of themselves. Like, I'm a huge fan of the Yakuza games. And I think, to a degree, like, if you break it down, you could describe them in kind of a similar way. You have all the side stories and you have all these activities. You certainly have a lot of icons on your map. But it's not this open, vast expanse of nothingness, which you often get in these types of games. And it's also not just like tedium and just menial labor that you only do for the sake of doing it. In those games, there's always a reward, a lot of the times in the form of entertaining writing. Like, you want to do the side stories because you want to see how they end. They are always funny and interesting and cool. And a lot of the side activities, and I think those are the part, like, especially if you beat a game in that series and then you want to kind of go for more completion, a lot of the time it's like, oh yeah, let's do the hostess bar thing, or hey, let's do the, I don't know, like the real estate stuff in Zero or whatever it might be. A lot of that stuff definitely wears out its welcome if you're trying to complete those quest lines. It's always pretty fun and interesting, but by the time I've beaten the game, I've done like 15% of it, because I tried it a few times and it was neat, but, you know. But then when you try to grind it out, like, it gets a little repetitive. Still, if you go through that effort, you're always rewarded for it with, like, funny cutscenes and unlockables and stuff. So it's like a double-edged sword where it's a bit of a shame that you have to work maybe a little too hard to get some of those rewards. But on the flip side, we talked previously, and I think it was the last stream when I was playing this, we talked about Assassin's Creed 2 and how I actually platinum trophied that game, and I fucking hated myself for doing it, because I realized the instant I finished that for the last 20 hours of it, I was not having fun. I was tricking myself into thinking it was rewarding to, like, check things off of a list, but it wasn't. It was really just busy work. Whereas in something like Yakuza, if you go through that effort of, like, thinking to yourself, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to do all of this, there is some kind of light at the end of that tunnel. So I think that's one thing that definitely differentiate those games a lot from a lot of these other types of games. But also, of course, like, the story is awesome, the writing is fantastic. I've played a couple of Assassin's Creed games. I couldn't tell you one thing that happens in the story of any of them. They're like utterly bland and forgettable, both in, like, the events of the story and the way the story is told. Like, completely just nothingness. and I think that's true for most video games. I wouldn't say that the story in any of these games, for example, the Arkham games, is anything to write home about. But at least the way it's told, the characters, the world, has a lot of appeal. But, you know, that's the major reason why I prefer Arkham Asylum over this game, is that mechanically and in terms of scope, story scope, or like the breadth of characters and stuff that we see in this game, we see more of Batman's world in this game. A lot of that stuff is cool, but it's so... like casing or something, it's like snapping to... Ah! There we go. That stuff is all cool in this game.
The shell casing.
But all the open world stuff that kind of gets in the way of that turns this from this very directed linear experience to this sprawling mess.
Alfred, take a look at the
I'm not a big fan
just
of.
uploaded to the Bat computer.
Is that what I think it is, Master Bruce?
Yeah, I mean, I think that
is in Arkham City.
What's he doing there? Is he a prisoner?
the ARKHAM games typically have a small world map, but it's also...
So it's the world's
I mean, of course, it's not unrelated,
the world's deadliest
but
assassin.
it's more about the density of it, the density of meaningful stuff. Like the fact that it's so small and so relatively dense means that it's easy for them to...
I know about the victim.
I mean, it's different in those games. Like, I haven't played all of them, but of the ones I have played... Hey, we're actually getting his art here. Looks a little goofy, but that's fine. I know that in Zero definitely is a thing where there's a lot of these side stories that aren't, like, generally speaking, nothing like is marked on your map to say, ooh, here's a side story. You're just like, you're walking down the street, you learn to recognize the same kind of dozen of typical NPCs. So any character that kind of stands out from the ordinary, you can kind of tell, like, this looks like a little, out of the ordinary person or situation. Let me walk up to it and see if it triggers a thing. And like 99 times of 100, it will trigger a thing, and you will get sort of drawn into this, whatever it might be. So it actually encourages organic, like, exploration of the game world, which I think is the exact opposite of a lot of other open world. You know, a lot of the time it's like this. You know, you just look at the map, and now I have a little radar and an arrow pointing, and it's just like, you're not encouraged. It might not even be possible to look at the screen, look at the game world, and determine, ooh, here's something I want to check out. You just go from waypoint to waypoint. And I think that's so boring. So it's, yeah, there we are. It's right there.
There are no secret ninja assassins in Arkham City. That would be insane.
And I definitely maintain that I think the open world, not the physical space, but the structure and the kind of, again, this map with icons all over it. I don't think that makes, like, exploring. Fuck it, let's do this because we're here anyway. So it's in here, but it's not marked on the... Well, that's a little confusing. Hang on. We see that it's here. It's not, like, this doesn't mean that it's right in the middle. It just means that there is one here. But as we go into the steel mill, it doesn't say where it is. Still, we might not have our reason to go back here very soon, so let's just see if we can quickly go through this location and see if we figure it out. Can we go through the main door? So we went in through the chimney before. Let's see if we can do that again. It doesn't look terribly inviting. We went in through one of these things. I think we can probably go through the front door. Close to how real cities are, like, yeah, like you see something with your eyes and it's like, that looks interesting. Not like, well, that's kind of what I mean also when I see these games feel like work, because it's, you just get an instruction. It's not an organic, like, something is inviting me, making me want to do this. It's like, well, here's a list of shit to do. Better get started. Like, yeah. And especially like with some of these games, like the way they kind of layer. Well, we have the line launcher now, right? Where is it? Up there.
Down here freezing, while strangers up in his nice warm tower.
Come on. What the? There we go. Oh, I feel like that it's faster now. Okay, I guess we could have banneranged. Well, that was faster. Whatever. Like the way those types of games, like the Assassin's Creeds of the world, the way they kind of evolved is like they added more stuff to do, more types of stuff, and more like. Oh, what the? Okay, whatever. And like crafting, so you're collecting like 55 types of items and shit. And it's like none of that, I think, made those games better in the least. What the? I was mashing. Oh, whatever. So, yeah, I don't generally, you know, what I would kind of just shorthand summarize as open world games. Meaning, like, everything that comes with that kind of label. It just doesn't appeal to me. Leonis Industries. Well, I guess we should level up, guys, because that shit is just not going to go away. Do we do this so we just have every single combat upgrade? 'Cause I don't know about this. Disruptor. Oh, yeah, okay, so this is an upgrade to the Disruptor now that we have that. Okay, this seems like it would be useful for, like, stealth shit that I don't want to deal with. It's unintuitive that optional content can diminish the game given that it's optional, but I think it's true. Yeah, for sure. Like, I think it's like, you know, I'm sitting here playing this game talking about how I hate that it's so easy to get sidetracked from the cool main story with all the side stuff while I'm doing all this shitty side stuff. Because I still, I mean, in this case, I want to get the Bane thing because I know that there's a thing at the end of that. But even, you know, the AR flight thing or whatever, like, that's what I mean when I say it's so easy to get kind of sidetracked with it. It's really, the game is signaling so clearly that you should want to do this. There is a reward. You will get this or that. That you gotta have, like, real fucking discipline to play a game like this and legitimately just go for the the main story. It's weird. Wildlands full of optional garbage so you can't see the map. Yeah, that seems pretty typical, doesn't it? So it's a fine balance. I think that's why something like the first Arkham Asylum, like to me, it's obvious that, like, after the first game, I mean, starting from this game, the formula changed. It's no longer kind of a Metroid game. It's a, you know, it went from being Metroid to being Assassin's Creed, you know, if we're generalizing. And you could streamline, you could improve that. Like I said, that weird dissonance between the main story and what the game expects of you, I think was handled better in some of the other games. Dude, I keep fucking forgetting how the fuck you get in there. Let me see if the map helps. Well, not really, does it? Well, maybe we can see where there's a door. Okay, on this side? Is there a main door on the west side? Let's check it out. What's up, SDS? More like Breath of the Wild than Assassin's Creed. Yeah, I think it's not really a one-to-one comparison. I haven't played enough Breath of the Wild to have anything, you know, worthwhile to say in terms of comparison, but I don't know. I've talked before about my experience with Saints Row the Third, which I didn't fully not enjoy, but I definitely had issues with it. Is this a door into the building right? I'm confused. Where am I looking here? Wait, there's... Is this a... I assume this means, like, I can go... Ugh. Breath of the Wild has an insane amount of stuff to do, but it doesn't feel like it forces it onto you. Yeah, I mean, I haven't played enough of it to have a strong opinion on it one way or the other. It definitely appeals to me at least a little bit more than, say... can we enter through here? Most Zelda games. But for, you know, different reasons, I guess. But yeah, Saints Row is one of those things where, like, it has a lot of shit to do, but none of the actual activities were fun. I don't know, I guess because I don't really like that type of game, I don't play many of them, so I don't have a really wide frame of reference. Assassin's Creed is, like, I guess, a little bit of the prototypical that kind of game, but it could be a Far Cry or... I mean, I feel like anything. But I just... Any of these games that I can't think of the name of right now because I don't play them. But yeah, Jan, I think it'll be interesting, like I said, to see how I feel about this game in the end, because so far... fuck it, let's just move ahead. We'll deal with this container some other time. So far into this playthrough of mine, I would not in any way say that I'm enjoying this less. Okay, I guess I probably should have just done this.
I'm heading underground.
I'm not enjoying this any less than I enjoyed the first
Gotham's a
game.
maze of old steel and ironwork. My signal may get
and I feel
Try
like
and
at this
stay locked
rate,
on.
Rerouting additional satellite coverage now.
especially if I elect to ignore a lot of the optional stuff, I think I will probably still feel that way. I was gonna say that I expect to not have the negative outweigh the positive, but I don't think that I ever felt that way. I never disliked this game. I just didn't like it as much as the first game. There's a... Do I need to... Oh, I think I need to electrically charge the Batarang. Let's see if we can figure this out. Remote control. Oh, diagonal's a little awkward on this one. So, there was some electric... Yeah, let's speed it up here. Where's the... There we go. Let's go real slow. U-turn. No, U-turn! What the... I was mashing. I couldn't U-turn for some reason. Maybe I had to let go of... Okay, well... Fuck. Let me just practice. Okay, you gotta just tap them simultaneously to U-turn. There's like a time limit to this thing. Think. Doesn't last forever anyway. You gotta be careful not to hit Batman, because he'll actually catch it. Which is cool, but not what we want. I guess I don't know if he'll catch an electrical Batarang, but he's wearing rubber gloves. Time ran out. I guess I can throw it from over here instead. Perfect. Pretty damn good controls of these things. There we go. Enjoy watching this? Not sure I'd enjoy playing it. Well. I think this is a very... Well, I mean, obviously your mileage may vary. But it's enjoyable to play. Like, the reason... what I like about this game is it actually really feels good to play. Like, the combat is fun. Traversal is pretty fun. It's a cool game. Oh, yeah, so this is where we need the line launcher. So we could have dropped down here at any point. Well, actually, that doesn't make sense because we could probably just grapple over there. But now that we have the line launcher, we could just do this.
Penguin's crew are on the run. Joker wants us to off any of them we find.
I thought he was offering them jobs.
He said it's up to us. Personally, I don't like those jerks, so I say we put a bullet in their heads.
Fine with me.
He's like armored, I guess. It's hard to see from here, but he's yellow, so that's probably... Yeah, he just fucking blocked that. Oh, that's cool. What the... Why did he do that? Wrong takedown, but I think that worked. I did the weapon takedown, but I guess because he didn't have a weapon, he just did the instant KO. Well, it worked. It worked.
Joker's got his crew moving through the sewers, hunting down what's left of Penguin's thugs.
Tutorial voice Batman, very matter-of-factly. So, yeah, I want to say... I have a feeling, I think I know what's coming up, but I don't want to spoil anything or embarrass myself in case I remember it wrong. What the... Am I supposed to...
What number comes after 3 when the night falls?
The answer is 2.
1.
Okay.
And the Dark Knight detective fails to complete my challenge.
Okay.
Well,
I was like, that seemed easy, but hang on. Okay, so I probably...
How utterly
It's created this death threat to be impossible to solve. You need to collect all your gadgets and upgrades to outsmart. Is it really outsmarting him if I'm just fucking cheating using gadgets? Mostly the open world nature of it. Yeah, well, I I can identify with that then. Well, okay, I guess we... Oh,
This is not going to be easy, Dark Knight.
Trying to tag... Well, I guess I only really need to tag one. Like, he can't, like, see through these... Oh, fuck it, whatever. I think you need the ice gun so you can, like, shoot the vents and freeze them solid or something. Like, you can obviously get something like that in a sort of more of a Metroid-style game, too, but it kind of sucks. Like, it was one of those things that I had an issue with in... So, like, last summer, I think? I played through the first 2 of the modern Tomb Raider games. Alright, we gotta... Yeah, okay. You hold this, right. Slows down. Weird, awkward flip. I'd not had much interest in the first, you know, new Tomb Raider 2013 or whatever. It didn't seem all that appealing to me. But a close friend of mine had really, like, kind of sworn by those games, and, you know, I'd become a little curious, not expecting to like it much. But I actually really ended up digging that first game under the condition that I kind of play it as an Uncharted game, like completely, or kind of like Arkham Asylum, I guess you could say too. Like just, yeah, there is an interconnected open world, but I'm mostly just doing these challenges that the game is throwing at me in a very linear, orderly fashion. And the combat, especially, like, I try to play that game as far as absolutely possible, only using the bow. In every combat encounter, I use the bow, unless I, like, died a couple of times, or if I ran out of arrows, then I would, like, oh, okay, I guess I'll use a gun. But the bow was really fun to use, and that made the game, like, really fun. There were definitely some combat encounters in that first Tomb Raider that made really interesting use of verticality, like some of the encounter design, just how it combined like the level design and the like spawn points, whatever. Rambo game. Yeah, I mean, pretty much. Like, it's not at all, not in any universe, what I would have wanted from a Tomb Raider game. When I think of like my sort of platonic ideal of a Tomb Raider or whatever, it has like extremely small overlap with that, because the thing I always disliked about Tomb Raider was this whole guns and shooting, and especially shooting humans. I don't think Lara Croft should be too precious to like shoot guns or kill stuff or whatever. In fact, I much prefer the the original Lara Croft that's kind of, I don't know, very pulpy, no fucks given, probably a little bit sociopathic, just fun, dumb adventure type character. Like, that was one of the major reasons why I didn't, had so little interest in the news games, trying to create this kind of more real or human version of Lara Croft with a serious dramatic story and, giving her character motivation and background lore and, oh, look, she's so tortured, and, we get a 3-game long origin story. Like, that shit is just like, ugh, so far from what I would want from the character or from those games. Like, I don't think there's any Tomb Raider game that I think lives up to my kind of brain ideal of what a game with that sort of concept could be. Like, I would want something that is 95% platforming, puzzling, like a Prince of Persia style game, except if Prince of Persia had less combat. Like, that's kind of what I would want from a Tomb Raider game if I had to dream up my ideal version of Tomb Raider. And I remember like one very neat summary of Tomb Raider 2013 that I really liked, at least at the point where I hadn't played the game, that said, in Tomb Raider 1996, you have manual platforming and automatic gun aiming. In Tomb Raider 2013, or in, I don't know, probably the last couple of Tomb Raiders and Uncharted or whatever, like, you have manual gun aiming and automatic platforming. And I think that sums up the kind of change of focus in those games, which I think goes against my idea of what a Tomb Raider game kind of should be. Having said that, completely ignoring what I would want from a Tomb Raider game, completely ignoring the story and storytelling aspects of Tomb Raider 2013, which I did not care for whatsoever, it is a fun as hell action shooting game. Thinking of it as an Uncharted style game and playing it as one, I really enjoyed it. And then I played the second one, Rise of the Tomb Raider, right? And I just did not like it at all. Everyone I know who liked the first one likes the second one way more, but they toned down. They made it so much more difficult to play it the way I had wanted to play it, and put so much more focus on 15 different types of currencies and crafting, like, what do you call it? Not ammo, I don't know. Crafting item types, and retreading areas and backtracking and doing shit over and over again. And like every so often, like in the first game, you would get a new gadget or a new weapon or something, and immediately afterward it's like, ooh, hey, here, you could use rope arrows that you just unlocked. But in the second game, it was the opposite. It's always like bumping into something, you see something, ooh, here I can, this is something cool. And then you go through it, and the game, before you even get to get a proper look at what it is you found, the game just throws up this giant stop sign in your face and says, nope, you can't do this. You gotta find equipment X, Y, and Z before you can do this. So remember to come back. And it's just like, oh, fuck me. Don't like make me feel guilty for not having grinded enough to do this. And like, it just put me off. Not to mention that I think the whole snowy, wintry landscape is just uninviting and unpleasant in a way that the sort of tropical island the first game was not. So, like, yeah, the first of the new Tomb Raiders I liked way more than I thought. I would. And based on that experience, I knew that the second one also would be a bigger game with more open world stuff in it. But I had a hope of, all right, but if I can play this like an Uncharted, like I did the first one, I'll still enjoy it. But you kind of can't, or at least the open world aspect of it become too hard to ignore. But I will say that game, much like this, has a few of these kind of linear sections where you're kind of locked into a particular series of encounters. And those were still awesome. Like, the combat was still fun, but there was too much other shit making it so that, sort of percentage-wise, the game was made up more of the stuff that I didn't like. When I say Prince of Persia, I guess I mean Prince of Persia in a very general sense. I like that series. The original Prince of Persia is one of my favorite games of all time. I love doing that shit. That's so cool. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that, but... I didn't fucking see that guy. Oh! Oh, fuck. Oh, we got a challenge. Oh, I did. Okay. We got him. Nice.
Don't make me hurt you.
I'll tell you what I know.
Thank you.
And I really, really need to play Prince of Persia 2 Shadow of the Flame one of these days. I played it as a kid, but I've never finished it. That game's really, really cool. I've played most of the Sands of Time trilogy. I've beaten the first and the third game. I kind of fell off Warrior Within because there we go. A lot of the backtracking-y stuff, and also because that game was more focused on combat. I actually quite enjoyed Two Thrones, though. But regardless of which one you're talking about in particular, the combat to me was never more interesting or entertaining than the platforming stuff. I got maybe 75% of the way through 2008 until the game soft locked. So, like, if you've played it, you're probably familiar with the fact that the game is kind of split off into these 4 or however many sections. And whenever you sort of complete, like, you collect enough doohickeys in each of these areas, and it's kind of like the star doors in Mario 64, right? You collect enough blips or dots or whatever, and you open up a door in this kind of central hub. And so, I opened the first 2, and then I collect enough to open the third one so I can access the 4th world or whatever it is, and it says, oh, you need 75. And I go there with, like, 90, and the button prompt to unlock the door just doesn't show up. So it's like, cool, I just can't continue. And yeah, there are definitely stuff about the 08 game that I didn't care for. I think it's like the worst... Well, okay, maybe not the worst version of the Prince, but it's not... I mean, it's just Nolan North playing Nolan North being a smug asshole. And he, like, looks so edgy. Like, I don't care for that. I didn't mean to do this. What? Did I accidentally trigger something that's a real thing? Because I definitely didn't mean to use this gadget. Okay, can I... Alright, I tried to press B and it didn't... Alright, that was weird. Anyway. Hey, what's up, Sting? Crash too much? Yeah, it's one of those, like, I have fond memories of it. I was just really put off by the weird soft lock. Like, I mean, I probably could get back to that point within 6 hours or maybe less. And, it's not like I remember enough of it to feel like I was really retracing my steps. But at that point, I just... Well, it's not so much that I wanted to quit. I couldn't continue. And I didn't feel like starting over, so I stopped. And I could definitely see myself playing that again. It's just hasn't ended up at the top of my list of games I'd like to check out. I've got so many PS3 and 360 games that there's so many games I'd rather play for the first time than play that for the second time. Even though I like the game and I would like to finish it. But so I've gotten I got the HD versions of Warrior Within and Two Thrones, I think. And oh, so you definitely need the line launcher here. I see. Oh, so you can hack that thing, see? But I gotta upgrade the hacking machine to get there. I see. So, yeah, it's just hasn't really come up. But, hey, who knows? Maybe Prince of Persia Marathon is is in my future at some point. Because I like those games. It might actually be fun. Trophy for falling less than 50. So I assume that is like you get a trophy for beating the game with a total fall count of less than 50. I don't like trophies. I was reminded of this. I finally beat Judgment the other day. Oh, this is cool. Like, oh, whatever. This is collapsing.
Are you alright? Did something happen? All the readings from your system went red.
Just give me a minute.
Just gotta breathe.
I'll be alright.
But this area is pretty cool.
Hurry! You're running
See?
out of time.
Hurry! But you can do some side quests. That's cool. That's fine. But hurry. Yeah, so Judgment has... Like, so I cleared the game with a completion percentage of 70-something, maybe? Can that be right? I did far from everything. You know, you could easily sink 20 hours into just doing mahjong and poker and all that gambling shit. Like, if you want to complete the Kamuro Go completion point stuff, like, and that's kind of what I mean about when I talked about the Yakuza games too. Like, you can do a lot of stuff and have fun, but if you want to actually complete everything, some of those things, like, things you need to do to get like one check mark on a list, is like, oh, that's an extra 10 hours, easy. So I definitely didn't do a lot of those most time sinky stuff, but I did a lot of other stuff. I went out of my way to complete a lot of stuff, and I had a completion time of, I think, around between 65 and 70 hours, something like that. And if I like rushed through the game, I could probably have completed it in 25 to 30, maybe. Like the Fist of the North Star game, Hokuto ga Gotoku, I sort of rushed through that game, and that I had a completion time of like 26 hours or something for that. And even then, for the final gauntlet, the final stretch of that game, I was really under-leveled, so I struggled a lot at the end. I probably should have taken a little longer, but let's round up and say 30 hours. In Judgment, and I think probably most of the Yakuza games have trophies for doing particular things in particular missions, whether story missions or side missions, that can only happen once in a playthrough. So it'll be like, a lot of the story scenes might have a little dialogue section with like a multiple choice thing. You know, you're in this situation and it's like, pick one of these three options. And the game won't fail you. There's not a fail state for picking the wrong one. You'll just get like a negative reaction, and then you get to pick another one, or the cutscene just continues, or something like that. And the game will have a trophy for like, make the right choice in these two story cutscenes in this 60-hour playthrough game. So if you fuck it up and you want to redo the game and get every trophy, you could find yourself in a situation where, like, well, got to restart the game and play for another 25 hours before I even get a chance to get this trophy again. And I think that's just, like, I love those games, but the trophy designs, like, it's bad. I think it's rough when you complete a game, you play it for 70 hours, you go out of your way to do a lot of optional extra stuff, and you end up with, like, 35% trophies. Like, ooh, that's rough. That's why and I'm not one to really care too much about trophies and stuff, but I think it's fun to get them. Like, yeah, I get that little dopamine reward or whatever, so I like to get them. But if it becomes obvious that it's like it's gonna take way too much time or effort, then I'm gonna say fuck it.
Oh, that's easy.
So I guess in a way I'd rather it be completely egregious like the Yakuza games where I know I don't have to feel bad because there's no way in hell I'd ever get a platinum or even close to it. But if I feel like it's in the ballpark, then I kind of might like to get the platinum. So like I got the platinum for MK11, for example, because I think that was pretty trivial. I had done everything I wanted to do in that game. The things I needed to do for the platinum were like trivial on top of that. And I think Spider-Man is another good example of a game that's like, for a game that's open world and has a lot of optional stuff, it's remarkably respectful of your time. Okay, I thought I could get out there. I guess not. In that getting the platinum doesn't require you to do 100% of everything. There's a lot of stuff that's legitimately not required for the platinum. So I actually got a platinum in that game, and it didn't really feel like a chore. A little bit towards the end, some of the stuff wasn't great, but it wasn't like Assassin's Creed 2 where it was 20 hours out of 30 or 40 hours, but it was more like 2 hours out of 40 or something like that. So I was more okay with that. But it can be annoying for sure when games are just like, I feel like their approach to trophies is just like pretty shitty. Trapped in a prison of your own design. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. There we go. Yeah, Aryoka, I think it's a double-edged sword for sure. I really like it when a game has well-designed trophies. Like in the best case scenario, they can be awesome because they might encourage you to try stuff you wouldn't try otherwise. They can sort of hint towards stuff that might be fun to do, and they can give you a little bit of a, you know. That's fun. Whoops. Well, I'm just getting tangled up in this carpet over here. Let's break this. Whoop, he also had a gun. Break that gun. Ah, I tried to counter, but the stun already countered him. Let's get rid of this guy. Let's lariat this guy. It's always funny somehow when you knock him out with a batarang, and also these fucking physics carpets just going crazy.
Like Joker is sending his crew
Looks
down to
pretty
steal
cool though.
weapons off
I
the
mean, it looks
Tiger
a little
Guards.
funny at times.
Good. Those guys are armed with
But
the
it's
latest
pretty cool.
military weapons. If Joker gets his hands on that stuff, well, you know.
Yeah, like trophies and achievements can provide a little bit of a reward, but I definitely understand what you mean about feeling a sense of relief and freedom when they're not there, not having to worry about it. But I think best case scenario, like games have some kind of, I like it when games have their own kind of built-in reward structure. So a game I've been playing on my Switch in the semi-recent past was Into the Breach. And that game has a lot of these little challenges that I'm sure are tied to achievements on other platforms. Obviously on the Switch they are not, but each of them give you a little bit of a reward, like currency that you use to unlock new stuff in the game. None of it which is necessary in any way, but it's one of those games where you have more options to unlock stuff to give kind of alternate play styles and stuff. If you haven't played it, by the way, Into the Breach, it's like a simple turn-based strategy thing. I think it's made by the guys who did FTL, right? And it's an awesome game. I really, really like it. But obviously that game has its reward structure, so you don't miss the system-wide achievements at all.
Oh God.
Other games, it might feel like
Please let me
that
go.
kind of a system can help.
Sorry, Doc. You're ours now. Just do me a favor.
Can help give you a little bit of a incentive to explore things or try things that just you wouldn't maybe know about or would have thought to try otherwise. And that I really like.
I can scan the room for targets.
So are these guys gonna see me if I? Oh fuck it, I can. Hey, no, take. Oh, do I have to hang? I forget how this works.
I was told you just like hitting people with hammers.
You can just do this. That's fine.
Tell me which.
Kick the hacking machine, the jammer, whatever.
Man, I can't remember.
I'm just screwing with you.
Oh, there's the Titan thing. Completely invisible. Never saw me coming. I'm Batman.
I've got this way covered. Over here. No! I found someone!
And yeah, I always kind of bring up the original Dead Rising as an example of
Come on, wake up! Damn it, he's...
really good trophy design. Because there's a great variety of types of challenges. There's great variety in difficulty in challenge. I just love that they just completely lose me when I do this. It's hilarious. And a lot of them kind of just encourage you to
One of Joker's men is using
try things that you wouldn't necessarily think of trying otherwise. Oh shit, they're shooting down some of these gargoyles. Let's see here.
Do what Joker said!
So I don't have the like sonic shock thing, but I probably could. Okay, I guess I can't do that. But the question is, well, I guess I can probably take out other dudes.
Show yourself, chicken!
He doesn't necessarily notice that, I would hope. Well, let's see if we can take out this guy first. That might be fun.
I really hope you won't let me down here, boys. But if you do, I won't be strong. I'll be dead. And Harley will be really, really upset. And
Alright, who's left?
you don't want to see that.
2 hostiles. Down there. Maybe move around. So there's a lot of other stuff to do in here. There's like explosive walls and shit, but it's like a challenge even getting there. Whoop. The Joker's talking to them and giving them instructions, so I guess I should pay attention.
Oh God, we've got another guy down over here!
Where's this last guy?
What are you doing? I need help!
Okay.
It's every man for himself!
That worked out. Weirdly well. Alright, interrogation guy left. Is he gonna be like spooky scared now so I can interrogate him? Or do I actually have to sneak up on him?
Is that the sound of one of your faces hitting something hard? I hope so.
Do you realize?
Oh God, please don't hurt.
I think you just skip the dialogue and he'll just smash him in the face. So that was like completely unnecessary, obviously. But it's cool to have that little added layer of challenge to try to get the interrogation dude last. Maybe get some little secret icons. So yeah, a little while back we were interrupted with Batman just choking and coughing or whatever, and I was just about to say that, oh, this section is cool. I guess it was like one room and it was extremely much shorter than I remembered it, because I remembered it as being this kind of underground city. I mean, it is here, but like it's particularly the part with the actual sort of apartment buildings and the water at the bottom or whatever. But I guess that was just like one room. But yeah, we do have this, the Wonder City.
You. Please help me.
Okay, press A to rescue. Where are we going? Okay, here, I guess.
Thank you.
What are you doing in Arkham City?
I'm in Arkham City? What the hell am I doing here? I was grabbed outside the hospital I intern at. They drugged me, and I woke up in a building.
Well, technically you're inside an underground city under the subway station under Arkham City, but
looks like
close
you were
enough, I guess.
unlucky.
He's dying, right?
It seems that way.
Is it wrong not to feel bad about that? What now?
You need to stay here. Keep out of sight, and you'll be fine. I'll be back.
Yeah, like this stuff, like
Oracle, it's me.
As I mentioned before, like I think they do a remarkably good job of making.
Strange is giving Joker the weapons.
Are you sure? Of course you're sure. Why would he do that?
Maybe he's trying to control who runs the streets.
Like there's nothing kind of generic. Like there's a lot of these pretty unique, memorable locations. Once you get out of the open world, like each of the actual sort of buildings or levels or locations, I'm not sure what you would call them, because this isn't really kind of a linear level or anything, but it's definitely, you know, a specific location. They all feel kind of unique. I think that's really cool. Of course you're sure. Yeah, like I like the dialogue is quite good. Like I mentioned in the last stream that there's definitely some characters whose writing I'm not very fond of. You know, in particular, Catwoman and Harley Quinn to some degree, and it's just like their voice lines, but just kind of how they're written. But especially the sort of banter between Batman and Alfred. Yo, is that a rubber chicken with a pulley in the middle? And to some degree, yeah, you know, Oracle, that kind of stuff. Like the way they're, you can tell. We kind of got a little bit of that with Robin too. Like, you can tell that Batman is kind of, he's a good person, of course, but he can be a bit of a handful. And you can kind of tell that these guys are just, they've come to accept that. They've learned to deal with it. They kind of like put up a bit of a fight, and it's just a little bit of a, you know, it's kind of a, I don't know, it's hard to put words on it, but like I said before, you get a feel for the fact that there is some kind of history there, and there's a relationship between these characters, and they understand each other, and yeah, I think that really comes across in the dialogue, and that's something that I think, of course, I mean, it's getting a bit of a free ride from the fact that we're used to, you know, we know some of these characters from context outside of the game, but that doesn't change the fact that it's still, the effect is still there. It still works, and yeah, it makes me care a lot more about this kind of dialogue than I might in many other games. Breakable arm. Oh shit, the Titan container. Let's get that. It's definitely this place. And this will also lead to, I think, it's probably right above us. Cool. It's pretty cool. It's actually, okay, so this is good to know for if we're going to go after the last one in the steel mill. It's actually very visible in Batman Vision mode. Oh, that's the wrong button. Hack. There we go. I guess I need the lock
panel
keys.
Is protected using Tiger encryption protocols. I can't decrypt it.
Yeah, so this area right here with Wonder City, and this is going to lead up to that big tower eventually. This is kind of the most out of the way area because it doesn't... The only way to get to the tower is through here, which is a little inconvenient. So any collectible stuff that's here... It's not that it's important that I get it, but it's more that I definitely will not be passing through here very frequently. So if I want to get it, it's probably a good idea to get it now. Yeah, I'll definitely be playing Blackgate. You can type exclamation mark, whatever you say, that symbol, and then the word Batman, and you'll see the list of games. And yeah, it's the only game in the series, if you would call it that, that I also haven't. I played it for like 20 minutes or something. I started it and very quickly was kind of, this isn't that great. I think it's a very good idea to... Is that a hacking thing?
This panel is protected using Tiger encryption.
I think it's a very good idea, and in fact, something I've been thinking a lot about after playing these games, to do like a proper 2D Metroidvania Batman game. Like it's almost weird that we haven't had one. But it's... I think my impression of that game, similar to something like that Castlevania one, which I granted haven't played, but the Spanish, whatever they were called, Mercury Steam. They did the two console games, and then they did a 3DS game that was like 2D, which was later ported to everything else. I never played that game. I never played any of the Spanish Castlevania, whatever. They didn't seem very great to me. I actually have, what do they call, Lords of Shadow? I have Lords of Shadow 1 and 2, and I want to play them at some point. Just, you know, like so many other games, just hasn't gotten, you know, I haven't gotten around to it. But the 2D one seemed pretty iffy because it's like, it's a 2D map structure, but the combat and traversal mechanics are more based on the 3D games. So you got these giant God of War attacks that like cover the entire screen in like a 2D Castlevania sort of setting. And that just seems like a bad idea. And yeah, the Arkham Blackgate 2 just isn't... It's not necessarily that the combat system was taken from this game and that doesn't work or whatever else. It's more like...
Everywhere.
That's pretty cool. It didn't feel... Like, I feel like a better version of that had been to do a proper, just like, design a 2D game with combat and movement and pacing and character size on screen and whatever else just more well suited to what you're trying to do, I guess. I don't know. Obviously, I'm really speaking out of turn here because I haven't played any of those games, but those are the impressions I've gotten, at least from seeing, and in the case of Batman, at least playing it a little bit. Yeah, Mirror of Fate, right? That was the 2D one. Yeah, there's a couple of those Assassin's Creed games. I've been curious about them. The Chronicles, or whatever they're called. Alright, new enemy type. That's the wrong button. Alright, then do a little bit of dodging. What the... I tried to do the knockout takedown thing. She was stunned, but she was like ragdolling in midair, so I couldn't do it. That was pretty funny. Anyway, we got him. Hey, he leveled up. Line launcher tight. Oh shit! Is this an ability we need to get? Yeah, we definitely want this because this is quite useful for bonus bullshit stuff. Yeah, same with these. Like, the only reason you want these is because you need them to get some optional stuff, but messing around with the line launcher and crawling on the string and whatever, like, that's kind of fun, actually, so why not? The hacking shit is never fun. It's just tedious, so there's no point. There's no joy in getting that. So, is there a thing underneath there? There is. Wouldn't you know it?
Then step closer. Witness the future of Gotham City. The heart of Gotham's future beats with
Achievement unlocked. Yeah, there's like collectible stuff. Anyway, yeah, so there's a bunch of Lazarus shit here, which I guess makes sense that we'd find... Whoa. What's with the stuttering? We'll find Rachel Ghoul here. Yeah, there were... there's PSP Assassin's Creed, which seems kind of crazy, but I guess they would not really... Like, in the Vita game that I worked on, like, it's definitely a smaller cousin, you know, to the console games. But the experience, the mechanics and everything, the controls are slightly simplified, but otherwise it mostly translates. But the PSP ones, like, yeah, you're not gonna get Assassin's Creed crowds on a PSP. But, you know, that doesn't mean that it can't be a good game. I wouldn't know. I haven't played it. But, you know, just in concept. Nothing to say it can't be good just because it's different. But there was also... there was a GBA, I think. Prince of Persia. Oh, yeah, that's probably not related to that. Oh, I probably need to line launch, like, step on that other one without touching the... Yeah, because that's still lit up. There is a button there, I think. I can't really see it. Probably need to step on all three of these without stepping on the... Oh, I missed it. See if we can do this. Anyway, yeah, there was a kind of a 2D Prince of Persia that tied into the Sands of Time, I think, on GBA. I don't know if it was great, but I remember it being all right. There might have been a fourth one over there, so... Okay, I'm pressing a little bit early because you actually drop pretty instantly. There we go. Oh, you could even see there were 3 lines. Okay, cool. Another one of these little teddy bears. So, yeah, these little, like, it's kind of, we had that experience a little bit in this series, right, with the Batman games. There were a couple of GBA companion games to Big Brother console games for, like, Batman Vengeance and Rise of Sin Tzu, Batman Begins. I don't know if any of these 3 were any good, really. But it's interesting. Especially when it's games you like so... I mean, I wouldn't say that those 3 are. But certainly it's something like Assassin's Creed. It's something you associate, like that big console game, and then there's this kind of, you know, last-gen console version in some cases, or portable versions. I'm reminded, like, about the Ghostbusters game, for example. They just re-released it, right? I think it came out. The, like, current console version, remaster, whatever, of the Ghostbusters game. That came out, like, 10 years ago. When that game came out... There was a Wii/PS2 version that's like a totally different game that has like much more cartoony graphics that are not based directly but sort of inspired, I guess, by the real Ghostbusters.
These must be the famous.
And I feel like that's a game that like no one talks about.
It looks like their inner workings were very advanced. I'm detecting a kind of memory tape they use.
Detecting a kind of memory tape.
Video. Perhaps I can scan and analyze it.
Well, perhaps. This section of this game, this kind of area... Oh, we gotta find more robots. I get it.
This is way ahead of the technology that should have been available.
It's not my favorite part. It's probably my least favorite part of the game in terms of the world and everything.
Maybe I can retrieve
this whole kind of retro-futuristic aesthetic... I feel it's a little played out. I don't know. It's not something I find terribly exciting. But I will say again, it provides like a little bit of a unique flavor to this area that isn't really present. And I would assume, not really knowing, that this is some kind of deep cut from actual Batman lore. And assuming that's the case, I gotta respect it for that. You know, that's pretty cool to like take something like this and find a way to squeeze it in. Yeah, I have the PS3 version of the Ghostbusters game. I played it a little bit, and I remember not much about it, to be honest. But it seemed like it would have been decent. You know, it's one of those games that I think probably gets a little bit over... Like, it maybe gets a little more love than it deserves. Or, you know, in a way... I guess it's not that it gets more love than it deserves. But I think it's a game that, like... isn't as uniquely amazing as its fans would have you believe. Like, I'm a big fan of, like, movie games and shit in general. Not to say that they're always great, but I think licensed stuff can be really interesting. And licensed stuff doesn't necessarily have to be fantastic games to be interesting and entertaining experiences. Like, if they do a good job of capturing something about the source material, even in the most kind of surface level way, it can be something interesting and fun about it. And I mean, I think that holds true for any type of game. Like, if there's something interesting about it, whether good or not, it's an interesting game, and I'll be into it. And I would say that I think it came out in 2009, right? That was not in a period where big licensed games were like unheard of on console like they are today. But it was definitely nearing the tail end of that being a thing. I would say around maybe 2011, 2012-ish, that's kind of where those things really stopped happening. But it's still, you know, recent enough to be a little bit of an anomaly. And a cool game, so, like, I kind of dig it. But not to the point where I'm, like, really jazzed to buy it again, to play it. If/when I were to play it, I would definitely prefer to play it on a newer console because it definitely did not run super well on PS3. But I guess I'd have to look into what the verdict is on if it's actually any good in terms of the remaster. Like, I always feel shocked how often you see these kind of like remasters not being as good as you think they should be. Like, say, the Arkham games. Tried playing on PC, found it too frustrating. Yeah, I remember not playing it super far. I wouldn't know exactly why, but I could see that maybe there were things that I found a little frustrating with it. Wii PS2 version was also on PSP. Yeah, the PSP is a machine I'm not very intimately familiar with. There's a lot of, like, I don't really know the PSP library super well, but it kind of doesn't surprise me. Given that, you know, it's a big enough thing that they would put it on everything. Of course, they would put it on the PSP as well, I guess, you know, makes sense. Right, so we're looking for our last one of these robots. So kind of cramped and awkward in here. When you're kind of used to the big open world, it feels awkward anyway. I mean, okay, well. I was just gonna say... Nice, you got the sword disarm. Yeah, speaking of cramped, the camera has nowhere to go. I was just about to say, well, they're not gonna put these guys in, like, inside the apartments, but, you know, I guess so. Yeah, the Return to Arkham releases seem weirdly bad. Like, it's understandable if not necessarily excused that stuff like the lighting looks quite different without necessarily looking better, just on account of basically what those versions are. They're ports from Unreal Engine 3 to Unreal Engine 4. Alright, so I gotta assume that this is gonna let me get to somewhere I couldn't get otherwise. Well, that doesn't seem to be the case, but... And, like, the lighting and everything is just totally different in those two engines, so... That makes sense. Like I said, I understand why, even if it's not... It doesn't, you know... If it looks worse, saying, well, they had to port it, doesn't make it suddenly not look worse. But that's kind of, like, you know, maybe they couldn't have done a much better job. I don't know. But the fact that they... Oh, okay. That seems like it would be... Like, oh, yeah, that's a non-lethal 3-story drop onto a solid stone ground. She'll be fine. Yeah, like, I'm playing the PC version from 2011, and this looks fantastic. It runs silky smooth. You know, it's in 1080p. You would think that a 2011 game could, at the very least, run a 1080-60 on a, like, PS4 Pro, right? But nah, they run it like... I think the first game is, like, locked to 45 FPS or something. It's, like, bizarre. I read up on it, and it's just, like... Yeah, really strange. Okay, so... I would take it that these red lights are kind of meant to highlight this for a reason. Oh, well, she didn't fall all the way down to the floor, I guess. I mean, as far as these kinds of remasters go, my impression generally is that there are probably more bad examples than, like, more examples of it being done poorly than it being done well. Or at the very least, 50-50-ish, you know? I feel like it's 50-50 maybe if you count ones that are inoffensive but unremarkable. But counting ones that are legitimately, like, really good with nothing... where the new version is, like, straight up the definitive one. Like, are there that many? I don't know. I mean, there's some, I'm sure. Like, we mentioned Tomb Raider before. Granted, I've only played the PS4 version, but that's not a game I remember hearing a lot of people say that, oh, you know, it's worse for this, and that reason. Probably something like The Last of Us. I don't know, like GTA 5. I don't think anyone is like clamoring for the PS3 version of that. Yeah, with the Arkham stuff, like, yeah, Asylum and City were like, neither was, I think, up to par, but they were very different in how they kind of failed to reach the mark. Well, Link's Awakening, I think, is a very different thing because it's like a full-on remake, right? Although I will say that one of the reasons I've been put off from wanting to play that is because of the kind of severe frame rate issues that game seems to have. Where it runs in 60, which I was impressed with. I didn't think that would be the case. Like, it absolutely should be the case, but I still wouldn't have thought it to be the case. But like every time you load new stuff or go into a new area, like it drops to 30. And it does it like very frequently, and like, yeah, that seems horrible to me. Like, some people play it and they don't even notice, but knowing that I'm kind of sensitive to that kind of thing, it would drive me up the walls. And if they manage to patch it, then yeah, maybe I'll check it out. Or maybe if, yeah, I don't know. I mean, but I'm not in a huge rush. Link's Awakening is a Zelda game that I played at the time and actually did enjoy, which is more than I can say for any other Zelda game that's come out since. But I'm still not in that much of a hurry. But yeah, I mean, there's kind of remake stuff is different. But I guess on the, you know, something like GTA 5, I guess, is on the other end of the spectrum where it's not like they've taken a 10-year-old game and ported it, but it's like a very, at the time, recent game. Because it came out in like 2013 or something, you know, very late in PS3 360 life cycle, and I guess it was like a year later or so that it came to the newer consoles and PC. So it's kind of, you know, they were obviously just continuing the same development. It wasn't like some other studio picked up some ancient game and tried to tidy it up. So I guess that ends up being a little different. It's funny, by the way. I definitely remember being a little stuck here when I first played through this game too. Maybe that's why I don't like this part, because this is kind of tedious. Yeah, there's definitely some stuff where it's like, oh, you ported this to new consoles, huh? Like, yeah, Assassin's Creed 3, like, who clamored for that? And, did I just, like, fucking run past this guy? I must have. Okay, wow, I really did not pay attention. Also, I guess they were completely visible in the Batman vision the entire time, but
surveillance footage shows me where the assassin went. She must have been using a secret entrance. I need to find
the dead robot is zoomed in. That's cool. Okay, sure, fine, why not? And there was like the Deadpool game, and there's like, wasn't it not Infamous? The other one. Shit, what is it called? The other weird open world gritty superhero. Well, it's not superhero, just like superpower thing. We have like a claw arm or something. Didn't that get a PS4 version? Prototype? Yeah, I think so, didn't it? There's some stuff like that where it's like, why did this come out? Yeah, but even counting ports, just like having games come out re-released, however much or little like work was done on them. How convenient. Coming out on new systems, like it's. I mean, I'm all for it. I'm not against it. I'm never like gonna say, it's so cheap they shouldn't blah blah. Like, you know, I'd rather any game be more available than less. But it's just amusing to kind of to go over the list of games that it might have gotten new versions or something like that. But it's also weird how that kind of definitions are getting so kind of weird because, you know, back in the day, you'd have something come out on a computer and then on a console and then 4 years later on a different... Like, no one would consider the Mega Drive version or the Macintosh version or the NES version of Prince of Persia a remaster. Like they're ports. They're ports of the original Prince of Persia, even though they might have come out 4 years later. Like Marble Madness came out on the arcades in 1984. It had a Mega Drive port in like 91. It's a port. But now everything is a remaster. It's an HD edition. It's whatever. And it gets conflated with games that have had, games that are straight ports are conflated with games that have a lot of work put into them to make them different or better. And they still get conflated with games that are straight up remade. Like, I get really frustrated with how that gets kind of obfuscated and the way even, like, educated, they should know better people talk about them. And, like, I don't know. It's a pet peeve of mine. Yeah, Transformers Fall of Cybertron. Yeah, I remember. That sounds vaguely familiar. Mario All-Stars was the first remaster. Like, I'm not even sure that's true because, I mean, first of all, is that a remake or is it a remaster? But there's stuff like, a lot of RPGs like Dragon Quest 1 and 2, and 3 for that matter, I think, came out on Super Famicom. Ys. Fucking Ys has like 12 different versions. So many Ys games have been remade and ported and redone and reinterpreted. It's weird. But yeah, like listening to, I don't know, fucking Giant Bomb or whatever, like people who you feel should know better talk about these different versions of games, sometimes using kind of interchangeable language for what are very different types of projects, and I feel like it's kind of weird. Yeah, Hells Angel, I know you weren't being, like, very serious, but...
Bruce, you can hear me,
Hey guys, did you know Batman's parents are dead?
You need to step into the light. Your father and I are waiting. We missed you so much. You have to do it. We need you to
Yeah,
do
for
it.
sure. Like, marketing, I think, is exactly, like... calling something an HD remake or calling something... Like, even the fact that the word remake, that sort of means nothing because so many times you'll hear people say, call things a remake when it's clearly not.
Oh, thank God. I'm not going to sugarcoat it.
And some remakes are... RE2, Resident Evil 2 is a remake, right? But it's a completely different game. It's not... it uses the same plot beats, the same characters... but, a similar location, but it's a completely different game. There's nothing... There's no, leftovers from the original RE2 in the new game whatsoever. But you'll still have, something like that, or Link's Awakening, or whatever else, compared to something... you could... I'm sure you'll have someone call Return to Arkham a remake, or whatever else, and it's... I don't know, it's weird. And the thing is, like you say, selling a port doesn't work. You can't call it a port. You can't say, hey, this game now available also on PS4 if it's like a big game. So, they gotta fancy it up somehow, even if it makes the game worse, so they can call it HD Remaster or whatever. Give it a new subtitle. Deadly Premonition Origins. But it's like, it's a port. And that's cool. That's fine. I think it's annoying that there's this stigma against just porting stuff, because fuck it. Would you rather it not be available? It's stupid. All right, cinematic time.
You should have listened to my warning. There are no friends to save you down here. Stop.
Well, except her.
Hello, Talia.
Spank.
How did you find us?
I recognized your personal guard. It was just a matter of following her.
Please, mistress, he tricked me. Leave. I will deal with you later.
You didn't need to get yourself arrested to see me, Bruce. After that night we spent in Metropolis.
Yeah, this is kind of jarring too. Like when you're playing this version that actually runs at 60.
Where's Raish? If he's dead again.
The stuttery 30 FPS of the cutscenes like really stands
Only
out.
a true successor may stand before the great Ra's al Ghul. My father always intended us to be together, to command his army. Just imagine it. You, me, a better world.
Oh boy, he's seen better days.
Your face! What happened?
I'm here to take my place at your side.
You wish to become an assassin. Why should I trust this change of heart?
You saw my face. Does it look like I have a choice?
Are you prepared to take the demon trials?
That's amazing logic.
I've got weird black veins, so I'm evil now.
Well, I guess that's how it works in video games, though, right? I mean, I played Knights of the Old Republic. You get like tribal tattoos, you get some scars, a goatee, maybe. You're evil.
Thousands of
So,
warriors have
never mind. I
fallen
guess
in
it checks out
pursuit of
perfectly.
Would-be successors have proven to be nothing
Liam Bad at Games, what's up? Yeah, it's funny you bring that up. It's good you bring it up, I guess. I've been meaning to mention it, but it's kind of slipped my mind.
Destiny will decide your fate.
Oh yeah, gotta check out
I
Talia's
won't fail.
sweet
I
hover
have heard
feet.
these words 100
Amazing.
times.
HD
Let us hope you are
remaster smooth
correct.
butt. That's cool. But speaking of which, no pun intended.
Your journey
Yeah,
begins
the new like it's been teased that
Let's get started.
WB Montreal, I guess I forget the guys who made the
Are you trying to talk me out of this?
Arkham Origins are
want you to be certain.
making a new
Blood of the
Batman,
demon takes hold. You will be on your
and I'm
own.
excited for that because yeah, we'll see if that opinion holds up, but I've maintained that based on my recollections of playing these games, Arkham Origins is maybe my favorite of them. And although a lot of mechanically, like they're kind of equal in many ways.
Welcome, detective.
If nothing else, visually, that's maybe the game I prefer with the character design and whatever else.
Before you lies your first demon trial. Simply drink from the chalice. It is that simple.
All right, time to choose wisely. There's A to drink.
Good. Feel the blood
So,
of the demon course
yeah, I
through
was a
your
little
veins,
underwhelmed, I will say, because
and twisting
it was
your
what happened was that Warner Brothers Montreal
Your next task is simple.
put up some kind of
Follow
teaser
me
thing
through this
on
world, and the trial is complete.
social media.
Touch anything along the way.
That was like it wasn't really anything. It was like a shot of a city or something. But there was like in that video, see a little trail here. We're supposed to glide. Nice. We get a little tutorial. We're gonna Super Mario World it. This is pretty. I mean, it's fun that they have little sequences like this. We're gonna fight or something here. I
These
forget.
tests prove if you are strong enough to lead my forces.
Anyway, in the video, you
Save
see like
this world from the
walls
evil
or
that
buildings
is
or something,
destroying
and there's like flashing symbols. And people who know more about Batman lore than me could easily discern that, hey, this iconography is hinting towards this Court of Owls thing. Which, from what little I've seen and heard since, is like apparently a very popular, well-regarded comics arc. Hey, actual different character models. Although I guess they're probably just doing whatever the ninja girls were doing. I don't know. Come on. So the timing of that teaser thing made it seem as if maybe they would have an announcement at the Sony,
the one to succeed me.
the PlayStation Nintendo Direct, whatever they're called, State of Play that happened the other week. But nothing. There was nothing there. But given that they've put out that teaser thing, it seems safe to assume that they would have... Ooh, that's the... Let's see if I remember controls. We should be fine. It seems, I would say, it's safe to assume that they would have something to show reasonably soon. But I wonder about the timing, because I wonder if... I was going to say, maybe they'll reveal it
Blood of the demon has allowed me to live for 600
soon-ish, and they
years.
release next year or something.
The good that you could do.
And, you know, they've probably been working on it for a few years, so it wouldn't be shocking if it's like... You know, it could be a reveal and a release within 6 months, or maybe even less. But it could be longer, and if it's like we're getting closer to the launch of the new consoles, right? So you got to start thinking about, you know, games. You know, games can still come out in 2020 for PS4. Oh, I guess you can't climb.
I can see your body is becoming
But if something is announced,
the small quantity that I have allowed you to
given
take
the
will only
typical
keep
time
you
between
alive
announcement
for
to
a
release
few
of new
more
games, right?
precious
If something is
hours.
announced less than a year
It is
before the launch of the new
time for you to
console,
make the ultimate decision.
it doesn't seem unreasonable to expect that it might come out for the next console, right? So maybe that's a thing. Maybe they will announce it, like maybe they're holding off on announcing it until we get a proper PS5 reveal or something, and then we'll see it as one of the first PS5 games or something. I mean, that could be the case, right? But it could also be that they announce it now and it comes out in March. Something, who knows? Either way, it's been long enough since Arkham Knight that I'd be totally okay with the new one. Like, I definitely don't want Rocksteady to do another one of these. Partially because I felt Arkham Knight was really self-indulgent. There was so much nonsense in it, and I'm honestly terrified. You know, how much bullshit would they add in yet another one of these games? But also because I do genuinely like a lot of their work and would rather see them do something different. It'd be more exciting to see something different from them than yet another Batman game. But, you know, from WB Montreal,
me in person.
At this
Complete this
current
challenge,
juncture,
and the blood of the
I'm more
demon
excited
will
to
give
see a
you
new
the
Batman
gift
game from them
of
than from
eternal
Rocksteady,
life.
honestly. Yeah, I mean, obviously people must have been working on PS5. Like, there will be games for PS5 at launch, obviously, so timing seems like it could be. But yeah, I mean, Avengers is coming out in March, or whatever it is, next spring. Maybe it's like counter-programming to that. I don't know. Yeah, and it seems safe to assume that the Xbox will launch for next holiday, too. I will see. Although I'm sure that, much like last time around, we'll see plenty of like cross-generation games. Wow, like we're so good at gliding. We're ready to become the leader of some assassin army. Makes sense. Makes sense. Like, I think for so many reasons, technical reasons, business reasons, whatever else, I would imagine that whatever AAA stuff that comes out for launch or around launch, or maybe even moving forward for the time, you know, foreseeable future, the new consoles will probably be backwards compatible. So will there just be one version that runs better on a PS5, or how's that going to work? Like, I'm excited to find out what the deal's going to be.
Your final challenge awaits you through this door. I pray the spirits will be kind.
But, you know, they could still do multiple versions. Like, that we just don't know how that stuff's going to work out. I'm curious to find out.
Ra's al Ghul.
Father.
Welcome, detective.
All right. Well, it's an Arkham game, so of course he looks fucking decrepit and grimy and dirty. He looks like a corpse, basically. Yep. Even more so than most characters.
It is your destiny.
I will never kill. Not even you.
What? You lied to me.
I needed a sample of your father's blood. This was the only way.
Allow me to help.
Flimsy excuse of
Use
me having an evil BioWare face wasn't.
No.
Wow, like amazing. Such trickery.
Fine answer.
But yeah, I look forward to seeing what the Court of Owls thing is, and I would say, guaranteed be buying that game when it comes out. And having done this, it would make sense to want to stream it too. So I'll probably stream that, whatever it is, and whenever it comes out. That's pretty cool. How about a new Superman game? Well, I'd be interested in seeing what a good Superman game would be. I'm sure it can be something good and interesting, but it's definitely a challenge, right? Because Superman, by its very nature, is not a character who is going to be... Like, you know, it's the classic conundrum of making superhero games. Oh, fucking GeForce drivers. God damn it, there we go. With Batman, it kind of works to have a bunch of basic thugs be somewhat of a threat. But, you know, it's like playing Spider-Man Maximum Carnage or whatever, and it's like two teenage kids and a fat biker show up and they beat the shit out of Spider-Man. Like, that's just dumb. And on whatever level you do it, with Superman, there's always that issue of how you deal with Superman's
You should have killed me when you
power
had the
level,
chance.
you know? Like I said, it's not that it can't be done, but it needs a little bit of clever thinking. Yeah, I remember these fights being kind of cool, actually. The Ra's al Ghul stuff. And yeah, my memory of this game having such, like, not very good boss encounters. I don't know if that's maybe all that accurate. Maybe there will be more really bad boss encounters later. But, like, this is a boss fight, unlike anything in the first game, right? And, am I supposed to shoot? Whoop, nope. Alright, I gotta have a clear shot here. Oh, okay, well, let's try that again. Whoa. And, like, the Solomon Grundy thing was pretty cool. I know we've got the Mr. Freeze stuff coming up. Maybe the boss fights aren't so bad in this game. But yeah, so, like, as far as Rocksteady and their next game, like, whether it's a DC Comics thing or not, like, I guess it would be... I'd be open to it, but I don't know if I would find it super exciting to, you know, see an Arkham Knight game, or what, you know, an Arkham game just reskinned with another character. Like, it works so well with Batman, with the location and the mechanics, the traversal and the combat and everything. If they want to do some other character as well as they did this, like, they would have to rethink or redesign what the game is like, I think. And I would be, you know, Superman is a character that I'd be interested to see what a good game version would look like. There was definitely a rumor around the time of Arkham City's release that Rocksteady's next game was going to be like a Silver Age Batman or a Justice League game. I don't know how that would have worked exactly, but I would have very much welcomed it if only for the change in visuals and tone.
Accept your destiny.
This, you know, the tone and the visuals and everything in these games is kind of the Arkham aesthetic. Like, this is the aesthetic of the series. It changed a little bit between the first and second game, but has been kind of consistent since then. The last thing I would want to see is...
We are Legion.
Oh, I gotta mash the counter button. There we go. That's cool. I like it. The last thing I would want to see is, like, applying the same aesthetic to something else. You know, if they did, like, an Aquaman game, or I don't know, and it has, like, this grimy, dirty feel, I don't know, that would be disappointing. I would be much more excited to see how can they, you know, spread their wings and go, you know, fully different direction visually. That, you know, that would be much more interesting to see to me. Oh, I can see him.
You cannot defeat us.
Yeah, this is a pretty fucking cool fight. I actually like this. It feels comic booky and cool. You cannot defeat. Oh.
Our numbers are too
I'm totally fucking this up though. Alright, he's gonna. Oh, okay, never mind. Is he gonna teleport at me? Nope, not yet. More big boss. Yep. Okay, okay. I'm a little preoccupied with the fight. I'll definitely catch up with chat in a minute. There was another rumor at the time that Rocksteady was working on a TMNT game. I think that'd be kind of cool. Like, if we think of it as like, all right, so they're probably doing something that's open world and kind of character like licensed, whatever. I mean, the number one like easy answer for what my dream would be that they would be working on is something set in the Mortal Kombat universe. It's another WB property, and whether it's, you know, whatever it would be, I feel like I said, aesthetically, I would prefer to see Rocksteady go in a different direction. But if they wouldn't, this kind of whatever, darker, grittier, I don't know, whatever you want to call it, I think it's not a terrible match for what NetherRealm have been doing. And, you know, I love Mortal Kombat, and I love the spin-off games that they have done.
And listen well.
And
you will kill me.
You know, NetherRealm clearly have their hands full with their main Mortal Kombat games, and that's fine. That's the way I like it. I would think it would make... I mean, just the way like they did in the past. Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks was not made by the MK team. It was made by a totally different developer. Reverse. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Lock on. Bonk. Alright, this is pretty cool. This is pretty cool. And if they're going to get a developer, another developer to make a Mortal Kombat spin-off, whether it's like an open world game like this or whatever it might be, I think Rocksteady is a good... It would be a good pick. So I would be super stoked to see that.
Should have killed me.
Yes, he should have. What kind of a man sacrifices his own daughter and you?
To me. I thought you loved me, Bruce. I thought you were ready to join our crusade.
Have I played... I have not played a lot of Superman games. I definitely played the demo of the Superman Returns games, and I know that that game had a... tried some kind of a twist on the whole
What's really going on here?
Superman is invincible thing by having like a life bar for the city.
Too many times.
I don't think the game was super great though.
600 years. My mind and body cannot take.
Yeah, there's been an Aquaman game. There's been some other. There's been a whole bunch of like DC superhero games, but not a lot of them I think has really
frightened of what will
risen above mediocrity.
The Lazarus Pit has corrupted your mind. Think about it.
The Platinum TMNT game, I think, is probably Platinum's worst game.
Powerless to stop centuries of destruction.
Like, I think if there hadn't been other good TMNT games, and if there hadn't been any other vastly superior Platinum games, you could look at it and say it's fine. But it's got so many tedious, annoying things. It had some, like, kind of quirks, some sort of twists on the basic, typical Platinum action game formula. And none of the changes made from that formula made it, were changed for the better.
Extracting some kind of naturally
So
occurring chemical he's called
there was a lot of things to be annoyed with in that game. I just did not. I didn't even finish it. I didn't like it very much at all.
Until he was even able to bring himself
Compared to
back
something like
from the dead.
Transformers, which felt a little budget. You could tell from that game that it wasn't
appear to heal.
They didn't
most
have the
ailments,
resources to
but
really
even the
pour
small
everything
amount
into
I
that game
ingested
like
had
they
a
would
few
with,
nasty
Bayonetta
side
or
effects.
something.
Prolonged exposure.
But
has
it
driven
was
Raish
still,
over the edge.
it was good where it counted. It was really fun. I think
No,
the strongest,
the effects are temporary. Raish tried
the
to
part of the
convince me
game
to
that
use his pit,
most
but the
felt
risks
like it
are
was
too
kind of
great.
budgety
When I'm done here,
was
I'll
the
need to
environments. The
investigate this
environments were very
Lazarus
sparse and
technology
repetitive.
further.
There weren't really
I
any
told
interesting
Raish to
locations.
shut his pit
It was all
down.
very samey city blocks. You know, some
Unlikely.
Decepticon-based levels or whatever. Like, it was just...
Given him one chance to break that addiction.
The environments weren't very inspiring. But the combat was really fun. I really enjoyed Transformers.
Robin get
So
you
going
that
from
blood
that and
sample?
playing Turtles was just like, ugh. Yeah, Transformers was way better.
Hey, Bob. I'm glad to hear from you.
It's me. What's happening there?
Bruce, it's not good.
Man, fucking everything, speaking of looking the same, can't even tell what anything is here.
And it's looking like the pattern repeats all over the city.
I've run a simulation. Joker's blood could be in as many as 2,000 people by the morning. The first fatalities are expected soon after that.
I'm on my way back to Freeze right now. Hopefully the blood sample I extracted from Raish will complete the formula.
I hope you're right.
It's interesting. I don't remember the story in this game super well. Like, I mean, I remember a lot of the beats. I remember what happens. I remember certain encounters and locations and stuff. But I don't really remember the order in which stuff happens. And I don't remember how far there's kind of spaced apart. Like, when anything happens, I wouldn't know how close or far I would be to the end of the game or anything like that. So, like, it would seem from the way they're talking that it's kind of... secret corridor. Okay. It's like a hole in the floor or something. That we're heading in, like, oh yeah, we just got to get the serum thing, fix it, and then we're done. I suspect that it's not going to be quite that easy. But given especially that most of the story has been, oh yeah, I'll just do this, and then whoops, like thrown for the loop for a big side thing. But I'm still feeling like, with the focusing much more on the main story parts and way less on the side stuff, like, yeah, I'm actually, I'm really kind of coming around on the storytelling aspect of this game. Oh yeah, we didn't even take a look at much of this. Aerial attack off a stunned enemy in... Oh yeah, that's when you... Oh, right, you stun them and then you dodge over them. Then you do the wall... Well, it's not a wall run, it's a face run. Counter an enemy projectile. Okay, so I've definitely done that. That must be when they're tossing like fire extinguishers and shit at you, right? Hit an explosive object. So probably if someone tries to throw a fire extinguisher, I can batarang it, or I don't know what an explosive object would be. Glide boost. Glide boost. Is that a combat or a batsuit thing? Probably a batsuit thing, right? Glide boost attack. Okay, so you set up a glide kick and then just hold RT. Alright. Am I looking forward to the Avengers game? Yes, thank you for bringing it up. I knew there was something that was mentioned in chat that I missed. I was very, very, very underwhelmed by what they showed at E3. I had been looking forward to seeing the unveiling of the Square Enix Avengers game for a long time, because they announced it like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I don't know, a long time ago. So I remember at E3 2018, I was like, all right, surely we will see Avengers now, right? And nothing. So it wasn't until E3 2019 that they actually unveiled it. So I'd been looking forward to it. But throughout basically the entire time waiting for it to be unveiled, I had not many specific wishes or hopes or, you know, oh, I hope this is what it is. But I basically had one kind of specific hope for what it would not be. And that's kind of what exactly it is, or at least like what they showed. Because, and I'm not really speaking so much about the game per se. This might be useful in predator situations. Let's just grab it, I guess. I like comic books. I like superheroes. I like bright colors. I like spandex outfits. I like idealistic, heroes that you can look up to or whatever, I think there is a time and place for gritty deconstructions of superhero comics. I think Watchmen is an amazing comic. I really, enjoyed Dark Knight Returns in year one, and other comics that I've read that were kind of laying the groundwork for this idea of creating this kind of, using shorthand, let's call them gritty, realistic superhero worlds. But I think that loses its entire appeal and the point of it when that becomes the default. That type of interpretation, I think, is only interesting as, like I said, as a deconstruction and as an alternate take on superhero comics. And I feel like in, post Batman 89, as far as movies and as far as popular media, movies or TVs or whatever else, there have been versions of movies or comics or games or whatever that have leaned into the very comic booky aspects more and less. But I think in terms of the average, especially in movies, but by extension to some degree in games, I mean, Batman is a prime example, but far from the only one. Everything has to, there's still this, I don't know if I would call it stigma, but this idea that it can't, it shouldn't be fun and can't be. It has to be, there's this idea that if it's more realistic, if it's more dark, if it's more edgy, if it's more violent, if it's more whatever, if it has less color in it, it's better, or it's, more grown up, so it's more serious, so it's more valuable, so it's better. Exit is at the gargoyle. Is it here? Oh, it's up. Right. Thanks. I was about to look at the map, but I knew I was going to be confused. This whole area is fucking confusing. I've not seen The Boys. I've heard very good things, but I've heard good things partially from people who I would not trust. Not because I wouldn't trust them, but I wouldn't trust them on matters of that. I'm not saying that that kind of a thing can't be good. It's very possible that I would love The Boys, but like I said, the main issue I have is that that kind of a thing, that kind of interpretation, that kind of angle has become, I think, the default. I like the Marvel movies, and I think they're certainly not as try-hard, grimdark as, certainly not the DC movies, but as, many other things. But I also think there are aspects of the Marvel movies that, to me, are not as comic booky as they could be. Okay, I'm trying to tag that, but can I tag it if I see it through here? No. Well, fine. I'm probably never going through here anyway, so whatever. For example, the costume design in the Marvel movies, I don't think it's bad. There's certainly been some good costumes, some really cool versions of characters. But to me, they always kind of take the comic book and then sort of nudge them slightly towards something that we could conceivably call realistic or real-life versions. Yeah, The Boys is a comic that was recently adapted into a TV show, or an Amazon show, I guess.
Protocol 10 will commence.
Right, so I need to freeze. Yeah, it's frozen. I can't grab it, so I need to get the freeze gun so I can make a little raft so I can get over there and pick it up. I don't like the visual design of it necessarily, but the fact that it looks very spandexy and very comic booky, Spider-Man's costume, like his original costume in Homecoming or Civil War, whatever. That looks great to me. Like I said, I don't like the design changes to it, but the nature of the bodysuit nature. Oh, how do I fucking put it? You know what I mean. The fact that it looks like a comic book costume, I love. But then you have someone like Ant-Man who has to have like a thicker leather suit with all these doodads and doohickeys. And like, it doesn't look awful, but it's got this kind of, you know.
It'll be a regular turkey shoot.
It wasn't. You can tell that it wasn't like, hey, how do we
Go back to the steel mill.
How do we translate? How do we put this comic book design on screen? It's definitely like, how do we translate this comic book design into something that feels plausible in real life, so that we can put that on screen. And that's hardly the most egregious example, of course, but it's just like I said. Everything kind of has that bent to it.
I suppose.
Let's do that. Smoke pellet. Is there a hole in the floor here somewhere? Nope, there's a shotgun right in my face, though. That's not good. I severely misjudged the availability of escape routes.
I figured you'd have a little more.
There we go. Let's try that again.
Guess I figured wrong.
I hated the Hawkeye. Yeah, like I think a lot of the Marvel superhero dudes just like have, like they look cool and they look fine, but it's like, man, I wish it was more comic booky in the visuals. I really wish it was, and I think that's like. Let's see, can we glide all the way over there? Please grapple. Oh, that works. And even then, I think Marvel movies are like some of the more comic booky stuff. Like, that's why one of the reasons I can really enjoy something like Batman and Robin. Like, it's not a good movie, but I think it's fun. It's very entertaining. And I love the fact that it's so unapologetically stylized. Like, I think the bat suit, like the costumes in that movie are awesome. I mean, it's not, I wouldn't say that it's the perfect bat suit. I don't think it's like, oh, that's what the bat suit should look like necessarily. But it's a version of it that I think looks great. I love the look of Gotham City in that movie. It's like absurd, but it's so visually distinct and cool to look at. Well, like, what the fuck is even Gotham in The Dark Knight? Or what is Gotham City in the Snyder movies? Like, I don't know, it's a city. Like, there's no personality to it. I think the DC movie costumes, honestly, I think they're better than the Marvel ones. I don't like the DC movies, but I think the costumes are pretty damn good. Like, they're more comic booky than the Marvel ones. I still can't really accept Batman or Superman without the trunks. It just looks wrong to me. But that aside, I think that the costumes actually look pretty great.
This nice safe room while we hunt down Batman. Nothing.
If you shoot the guy with the jammer with the
City. Screw anyone else who thinks
fuck, this one, I guess, yeah. Let me just try it. Yeah, there's so much shit you can do that it's easy to kind of forget. So he's down there on the bottom, so there's no... Yeah, the layout of this room is a little confusing, because I think there's probably tunnels somewhere behind... Well, there's definitely the grating on the floor there, but I don't know if that really helps.
If you can hear me, and let's be honest here, you can. I want you to know that whatever you do to these guys...
So yeah, you can like go around back here, but I don't know if it really gives you access to anything. Anyway, to wrap around, like, I think the kind of bright color... We can take a look at something like Spider-Man again on PS4. I love that game. It's certainly a little more comic booky in the visual design than maybe the Marvel movies or whatever. There's a lot of cool Spider-Man costumes, and some of the villains look pretty damn cool, but it still has this, you know, grounding in reality is probably not even an accurate description of it, but it's like, it's just something like that. I don't know what to call it exactly.
The hell is going on?
see if I can know where anyone is. That's a little scary, but let's go. Ooh, that guy. Let's. Nope. There we go.
Where did he go?
No tunnel. Oh, there we go.
It's looking like a rerun of last time.
Oh shit! Can we? All right, this is gonna be pretty good. Well, let's hope it's only one of them.
Over here.
Can land on each other.
There's someone here.
Let's hope.
This is no good. He won't wake up.
Let's see.
He's making us look stupid.
Ah, there's fucking all of them here. How many people are there actually? I know about softwood paneling. How many guys are there? 5. Okay. Shit. Okay. Well, that didn't work out. Well. Hey. Riddler trophy. What do you know? I forget even how I got in on this topic of comic book stuff. Should be more comic booky, but I forgot it. That was the point I was trying to make, but I will say that.
Not on that one. Where is he?
I would love to see the next whatever Rocksteady thing be something very different. I think I was completely talking about something different that I can't remember though, but that's fine. Avengers, that's what we're talking about. Fuck, right, Avengers. Wow, I'm so sorry. I get like super sidetracked when I try to play a game. I'm bad enough with like staying on my train of thought as it is, and if I'm trying to play a game at the same time, it's just times 11. Avengers, yes. So after that long rant, you know what I'm, you know my feelings on looking fully horizontal flight. That's pretty cool though. So my worst fear was that it's going to be. I knew that it wasn't going to be based on the movies. That had been announced when the game was first. That was clear from day one. It's going to be its own thing. So, given, or even regardless, but given that it isn't its own thing, what is it going to be? So can I? I want to say the challenge of like taking out 2 guys, but I wouldn't want to fuck up and die here and have to redo this.
What's wrong? Too scared
So
to show yourself?
if there's 2 guys left, maybe I can do that. Well, let's come back to that. And
You heard the boss.
my wish for the Avengers thing would be, all right, so let's do something comic booky. Something vastly different from the movies, just a full-on comic book version. But no, of course, what they showed was something that looks super... Like, the dumb thing is that it's clearly not the movie version, but it's still, like, this kind of realistic version, which looks so awful. Like, it's... it ends up, being that... let me try that.
What?
It can like shock. Yeah, detonate.
Get over and find out who's screaming.
Oh, that worked. Hey, that was a challenge too. Cool. Hey, so yeah. Let's bunch up. Hey, dude, run over there. Oh, he's not running over there. Whoop, is he? Nope, it's every man for himself. Oh well, we'll get a chance to do. I mean, I'll just find a crowd of dudes in the streets. Oh, he has to go hide underneath. Well, maybe if I go over here. So, when they first revealed the Avengers, like, speaking of like quote-unquote realistic costume designs and whatever else, there are costumes in the movies that I'm not a huge fan of. But the ones they showed there, like. That hands down the worst Captain America I've fucking ever seen. The guy looks like a fucking... I mean, he definitely looks like he's Steve Rogers' stunt double. And he looks like he's wearing like fucking... He looks like a Rainbow Six Siege character with like a Stars and Stripes. Well, it's not even Stars and Stripes. It's like blue... Navy blue uniform with a tiny little bit of red and white around the edges, maybe. And he looks so bad. That look of Captain America in that initial reveal was just like shockingly bad. And I don't think any other characters look much better. And then all of the reports from E3 was that it's like they had a fucking 20-minute presentation where they said absolutely nothing about the game. They just fucking brought out voice actors. Nolan North talking about like understanding the Tony Stark, like totally like wears a mask. Like, dude, we fucking know who Tony Stark is. This is pointless. Like, it was, the reveal was like staggeringly awful. Everyone kind of came out of that having less of an idea what that game is. And like, that's pretty bad.
They've started using shields.
Yep,
They'll block
new enemy
head-on
type.
attacks, but that shield can't protect them from above.
I remember having some trouble remembering how to do this move and that this was the way to take down these enemies. Oh, that was bad. Why did I do that? What the? Nope. What? Ugh. Yeah, that works. Okay, cool. So, like, coming out of E3, I was still, you know, kind of... I mean, I still am curious about the game. I'll still probably play it when it comes out. But I was, like, very deflated. I made a long Twitter thread ranting about how shit that Captain America is. And the one thing that the E3 reveal of that game did, basically, is it made me buy this. I bought Ultimate Alliance 3, despite not really knowing much or caring much for the previous Ultimate Alliance games. Because, look, they've got fucking colorful tights. They look like comic book superheroes. I don't know if this game is any fun, but they look the part at least. So, like, seeing the straight contrast between Ultimate Alliance 3 and that Avengers game was like, you got it right there. Like, that's, I mean, I don't even think the designs in that game are amazing. And the awful thing is, like, you look at all of the mobile games, you look at the artwork in Puzzle Quest, you look at Future Fight, you look at whatever else they're all called. There's like a bunch of mobile Marvel like fighting games and action games. There's wasn't there like an MMO that was also canceled not too long ago? Like all of those games.
With a tick and ends with a shock.
This is one of these death trap rooms. Let's not bother. Actually, let's tag them, I guess. If I can. Yeah. Every single one of those games, you look at their versions of Captain America, and it looks way better than the Avengers game. You look at those games, you know, they always do these campaign, like, limited time skins or whatever. So every one of those mobile games that have a little more comic booky look, they still have a movie version of Captain America in them. They have several, in fact, probably. And even those, the movie specifically based on the movie version of Captain America from a mobile fighting game, whatever, has more of a comic booky look and just looks way more awesome than just the straight up their like main version of Captain America from the big new game that's supposed to be like, this is our version of this iconic character. It looks so shit and it just fucking pisses me off. Yeah, Future Fight, like all of these like Marvel mobile stuff, like the art is awesome. Like the characters look like fucking comic book characters. It's a revolutionary concept. So, yeah, I was not impressed. Like the voices seemed weird, and the fact like everything about the Square Enix Avengers game seems fucking scientifically devised in a lab to make it as generic as humanly possible. Everyone looks like a generic stunt double. They have the generic, like, a veritable who's who of generic protagonist voice actors doing the main cast. Like, I have nothing against those people. I'm sure they will deliver fine performances. I've heard them in countless games, and they do a good job. But they also sound very generic. And, like, it's so weird. Again, I'm not bothered that they don't have the voices of the movie actors. But, you know, you hear two people talking, and you have no idea who's Hawkeye or who's Captain America or who's Tony Stark, you know, from the way they talk. And that seems weird. Like, they all feel like they sound the same to me. So everything is just like, you know, genetically engineered to be ultra generic.
Good. Got weapons on the way.
And it's, oh, yeah, it just like, it brings me to sleep. So that has mostly been my impression of that game since. Alright, big fight up ahead.
Yes. Good. Now, when the weapons arrive, we can all head topside.
Sad face Black Widow. Yeah, impossible to... Yeah. I mean, you could say that for any character, basically. They were... I mean, the Hulk is the Hulk, I guess, when he's transformed. The Iron Man has his suit of armor. But, yeah, like, by and large, like, everything feels so generic.
Check stay the car. This is why Superman
works so no. Robot86, thank you very much for the follow. Welcome to the family. Alright, I did not mean to do that. That's fine. There we go. That's the riddle challenge. Oh, I saw a counter thing, but it was from a dude at the other side of the room because he was confused. There we go. Yeah, these encounters are still fun. That was a sick suplex, by the way.
You should.
Definitely try to break the shield if I get an opportunity.
I'll kill you.
Oh, fuck, I can't counter that, I don't think. I like that, just punch straight through the shield. Oh, I didn't mean to punch that guy. Break that shield. I didn't mean to do that, but that's fine. Oh, what the? Oh, I tried to do the down attack, but I stumbled on some trash bags, so I fucked it up. Anyway, we got him.
Please, don't hurt me.
Yeah, I think basically trying to imitate the movies, going in that route where they were like destined to not come close. I mean, there's no way, even if it was done well, even if the designs are good, in so many people's minds, the movie versions are the version. So why would you even, like, why would you remind people of that version? Like, it seems such a self-defeating, like, just stupid thing to do. And yeah, so the best thing to do would be to go in a completely different direction, right? So, yeah. Having said all this, none of this, I mean, I still stand by these opinions. I would have loved to see a much more comic booky, stylized look to everything. I did see a video from Digital Foundry, just kind of at random, where they had recorded gameplay footage from some demo or whatever, showing off a little bit of the game and talking about it. And I will be honest, that definitely got me more interested in the game.
That doesn't sound good, does it?
At E3, they kind of talked about it being some sort of a MMO-esque, Diablo-esque, Destiny-esque, whatever you want to call it, sort of a game. Like a multiplayer thing where you... Like a living games-as-a-service game. Like, that... that doesn't appeal to me, really. But the fact that it has, like, a single-player campaign and a multiplayer thing that's more, you know, separate... I still have no trust that the multiplayer thing is going to be for me. But the single-player thing the way the footage I saw where you kind of change between the characters, they actually have different abilities. Black Widow seemed to fight in kind of a Arkham Batman style, like, you know, that made me a little curious about it. So, like, I'm actually kind of interested in it now. I guess there has been more footage released after that I have not seen. Someone mentioned something about a more recent trailer that I have not seen. So, like, I'm cautiously optimistic and I'm interested in it. But I will forever, I think, see that game in a very kind of disappointed... through a kind of a lens of, like, disappointment, because I will always look at it and say, man, I wish they would have gone in a very different visual direction. It was playable at NYCC. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense. Am I a wrestling fan? Yeah, for sure. I don't watch any current wrestling. I'm not super knowledgeable about any era of wrestling per se. I mean, more than your average person, maybe, but... Thanks for the fucking camera angle! Jesus Christ. Well, there's 3 of these things, apparently, anyway. Well, yeah, I mean, I like wrestling. I like wrestling moves. I like wrestling games. I mean, most wrestling games are very bad, but I'm a huge fan of, like, Fire Pro Wrestling. I mean, I collect old Japanese games, right? So I have a lot of wrestling games for, like, PlayStation and Super Famicom and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm definitely a wrestling fan. Did I like Ultimate Alliance 3 more than the previous games? Well, here's the rub. I have not played Ultimate Alliance 1. I have not played Ultimate Alliance 2. And my copy of Ultimate Alliance 3 is still shrink-wrapped. I have not played that game either. So, I can't really answer that question. I did play X-Men Legends a little bit. I think I played both games, but it's been so long so that I can't remember in detail. Ultimate Alliance was basically X-Men Legends 3, but with just like a Marvel-wide roster. I wasn't super hot on those games, but I bought this game for a few reasons. I'm kind of curious, and I have a friend who's also a big Marvel fan, and we might try to do a little bit of co-op. I think as a co-op time waster, I don't think I'll love MUA3, but I struggle to imagine it being, like, offensively bad. I'm sure it'll be fine for something like that. So, in that context, like, it'll be fine, I'm sure, but I also don't expect to have super strong opinions on it.
Who's gonna save you now?
But yeah, I'll definitely check out the Avengers stuff from NYCC then, or if it's like a new trailer. I mean, the game is coming out soon, really. I mean, March is going to be here before you know it. Alright, let's see if we can... Nope, I still just hit the one dude. Lariat. Counter. What the fuck? What is... No, alright. No. Oh well. That'll work. Oh well. Oh well. But yeah, like, if they do a proper job of making the characters feel really different with different abilities and different playstyles, and if it is more of a linear action game, like I said, I'm not so big on open world stuff. Everything is open world.
I'll tell you everything.
You know, if the online is going to be all like recycled missions where you do the same thing over and over in slightly different areas, and I don't know, but I mean, it could be cool even then.
All
if
I
the
had to do was turn a blind eye to his
I
experiments
think a game like
and work
that.
on my campaign. He said his friends would ensure that I won.
Hey, maybe we should pay attention here.
Who are they?
Swear to me.
I have no idea. I never met them. They funded everything. Money was no problem. All I had to do was set up Arkham City and put Strange in charge. It made perfect sense. The scum of Gotham needed to be punished. It would be my legacy.
Strange has been removing anyone with evidence against him and sending them into Arkham City. Enjoy your legacy.
I just noticed that it's like 10:15. It's really getting late. I gotta I gotta wrap up pretty soon here.
I just had a chat with
But
our
I'll
old
definitely
friend
finish my
Quincy
thoughts on the
Sharp.
Avengers thing.
He confirmed that Strange is working with someone else. I'm going to find out who.
What are you talking about? You need to get that blood to freeze now.
Oh yeah, right. We're in a hurry. I forgot.
I just need to.
No, you don't. You need to go back to the GCPD.
I just need to click.
Please, Bruce.
Hang up,
For
I guess.
me?
Nah, I don't need to answer that. All right. So, like, I feel like a game like that, again, kind of coming back to the experience of playing this game, the part that I've liked the best is, oh, yeah, we're even getting a side mission to collect upgrades. Probably the ice gun, because that's maybe not... Well, I guess we'd get the ice gun for defeating Mr. Freeze. I don't know if that's necessary. Shut up! Oh, God, this game just never shuts up. Sorry. I feel like this game, or a game like the Avengers, like which probably you'd think the characters are a big part of the appeal, right? The game is, I feel like, probably at its best when it's not necessarily about telling a story, but seeing a cool moment with a character and like doing cool stuff, and you'll have those sort of sprinkled out through these single-player levels. There will be these cool set pieces and that kind of stuff. If the characters are mechanically really fun, the gameplay can still be engaging. For something like this too, right? You know, when we're fucking around doing side mission, traversal is fun. Combat is fun. The game is enjoyable to play. But it's at its best when we get that character story aspect as well. And if that aspect of Avengers is pretty small, and the majority of the game is going to be the co-op, multiplayer, action stuff, I fully expect to much prefer the single-player part of the game over the multiplayer part. But if the mechanics of the characters are different enough and interesting enough and fun enough, and if they're like, if they work together in a really interesting way to make the co-op like a unique, interesting experience, there's, you know, there could be something there for sure. And I guess the implication, I'm not sure if they've said specifically that they would, you know, they'll add many more characters and stuff. So you'll have this kind of, you know, it's kind of a loot game, I guess, which also isn't something that appeals to me. But if that is something that they can, you know, you can get a bunch of different costumes or like, there could be a fun game there. But I feel like there's a lot of ifs there. Like, if a bunch of these things are kind of would happen to be aligned to my pretty eclectic tastes, I could find myself really enjoying that game. I expect to have it be more, you know, not really for me. But at the same time, if the single-player thing is cool and I'm not really much into the multiplayer, you know, that's still a cool single-player Avengers game. We're not exactly drowning in those. Or any Marvel superhero games, I guess. So, you know, I'm cautiously optimistic, looking forward to it, but not necessarily expecting that much. I guess that's my ultimate thoughts on Avengers. But yeah, fuck it. Imagine if the new Batman game actually does come out early next year. I would not expect that, but maybe we'll get a big old superhero comic action from all fronts. Anyway, let's see if Live Split is actually... There we go. Hotkeys working. It's getting late here, so I'm going to need to wrap up, but we did some good progress here. I continue to really enjoy this game, and I think I do so partially from not feeling bad about ignoring some of the side stuff. I could still see the game being less fun in the later parts, like the parts that I've enjoyed the most, the kind of the story character stuff being less, I don't know. I feel like there's got to be a lot of Hugo Strange and Joker in our near future, and I don't really care much about that. So maybe like the first game, it ends on a, not a sour note exactly, but on a less than stellar point. I don't know. We'll see. But so far, for sure, my overall feelings on this game, much more positive than I expected. I feel like I still have complaints, but I have different complaints than I did going in. And overall, it's still really fun to play. But it's also giving me a really good, like it's making me feel good about going to Origins and Night, because if the parts that stood out to in my memory as being bad about this game, or stuff I didn't like, if that ended up being such a non-issue, I don't think those games will be able to have that much of a negative surprise or negative impact on me either. Like, they should be fine. They should be pretty fun. Because I think the stuff that's fun in this game should still be fun in those games. At least in Origins. Arkham Knight still has the Batmobile shit that's kind of... I mean, it's the same thing as everything in this game where, yeah, there's a lot of optional stuff that you could kind of... If I choose to excise the parts that I know I don't like, on average, the enjoyment level should be higher, so it should be fine, like, or at least not terrible. But I do know that there's also a lot of non-optional just car stuff that I just don't like. So we'll see. At this rate, I fully expect Arkham Knight to, by a significant margin, be my least favorite game in the series. But I look forward to, getting to... I was going to say I look forward to getting to that verdict. We'll see if that's the verdict I come to, but I look forward to having replayed all of them so I can actually kind of make that ranking list or whatever. But let's see here. Before we wrap up fully, it's like auto-saving, right? Yeah, definitely. I hate games that save all the time, but they still just shout at you for trying to quit. It's like, you haven't saved! You're gonna lose everything you didn't save! And it's like, well, the game auto-saved 2 seconds ago. I think I'll be fine. Yeah, no new character trophies. These are all like they're pretty stingy with handing out these. Although, to be fair, I haven't done any challenges pretty much. So I guess that's true. Concept art. At least they put some character art here. I remember being very disappointed with the concept art gallery in Arkham Knight for having literally 0 character art. It's like all environments. And I mean, I have nothing against these paintings. They're neat, but like, I'm just way more into character art than environment art. Shit, yeah. Not a ton. I mean, obviously, I don't have a lot unlocked, but there's not like that many pages of stuff. But I'm appreciative of whatever extent of this kind of stuff there is. So I'll remember to, and in fact, I think I'll do this right after stream. I said I might do it if I took a break. I haven't actually taken a break. I'm going to look into if there are, like, I remember there being, and I'm going to see if I'm remembering correctly, some kind of codes or whatever, cheats or something we can do, maybe even mods on PC, I don't know, to actually play using some of these other costumes. Because, yeah, I don't like this. I mean, I was going to say it's my least favorite. My least favorite, actually, is probably this one. It just looks so goofy. The Sinestro Corps, also, I don't know. I mean, it's obviously not a typical Batsuit. It's cool for what it is, but it's, yeah, pretty special. But, yeah, I'd much prefer to play in maybe this one, or, yeah, this is my favorite one for sure, like the classic. It's funny how just, like, changing the characters' costumes can give it a little bit more of an actual comic booky vibe. Not changing any of the locales or whatever. It's interesting. Anyway. Hopefully, we'll return to Arkham City on Friday. And I think we can expect, is maybe big words to use here, but I think clearing the game is within reach. If not on Friday night, maybe we'll do a longer stream on Saturday to definitely make sure that we get through the game. But if we manage to clear this game on Friday, maybe we'll look into doing that Mega Drive mini stream on Saturday. As I mentioned at the top of the stream, next week I will have very, very limited opportunities to stream because I'm going on a trip to London on Thursday through Sunday next week. So Wednesday I'll be busy packing and whatnot, which leaves Monday and Tuesday, which, I don't know, maybe I'll squeeze in a stream there at the beginning of the week, but yeah, opportunities will be limited. And I really want to make sure to have this game completed so we don't have to go like a week plus waiting to get to the end. But we'll see. As always, my streaming schedule is a little bit sporadic. I will most likely not stream tomorrow, but Friday or Saturday, I would say. If you want to have a chance of getting the latest word on upcoming streams and whatnot, I would recommend following my Twitter, and which you have, I was going to say up here, I guess you don't, but it's at the Jigga. Let's quit here, and I can just move my goddamn mouse cursor over there. I think this is the command, right? There we go. And I have a Discord server. Feel free to join that if you'd like. Not a lot of chat action, but I'm always welcoming more people to show up, and I always announce stream plans and stuff on there too. Anyway, thank you very much for tuning in, guys. Let's see if we can't beat this game before the end of the week. Take care and stick around, and we'll probably see if we can host someone. Thanks for watching. Bye.